about 2 weeks to arrive in the Middle East.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. The U.S. and Israel hitting more than 15,000 targets so far, but a big turnout in Iran's capital for annual demonstrations organized by the government.
Thousands rallied in Tehran today for Al-Quds Day. It's a day of demonstrations in support of the Palestinians and against Israel. Several American flags were burned during this. Several Iranian leaders made public appearances, including President Masoud Pezeshkian, despite several Iranian leaders being killed during Operation Epic Fury.
Fox's Nate Foy in Tel Aviv. The Iranian president walking down a street in broad daylight. Vice President J.D. Vance just telling reporters the U.S. knows that Iran's new supreme leader is injured, but doesn't know how badly after the strikes that killed his father, mother, wife, and a son early on in the fighting. The vice president visiting North Carolina, touting the Trump economic agenda, including last year's Big Beautiful Bill.
The biggest tax cut for people making under $100,000 that we have ever seen in tax legislation in this country.
Democrats argue the president sending costs higher with tariffs and fighting in the Middle East. The president just signing a pair of executive orders aimed at helping to address home affordability concerns. One order aims to reduce the government's own regulatory burdens. The other to reduce the regulatory hurdles tied to mortgages, making it easier for smaller community banks to provide home loans. Stocks sink. The Dow down 117 points at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Partly to mostly sunny skies going through our Friday afternoon. 63. Tonight, partly cloudy, 38. Saturday, partly sunny, breezy, 66 degrees. Sunday, rain and some thunderstorms, windy and 69, and then a rapid drop in temperature early Sunday night. Throughout the night, we've got rain, wet snow, and then all snow, maybe even some thunder, 22 degrees. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, we are live. Fish fry stop number 4. Sue Thomas, can you believe it?
No.
We're at St. Mary Magdalen in Brentwood on a beautiful sunny afternoon, just a little chilly and breezy out there. School, I think, is letting out here very, very soon. We're getting set to do a Reardon Roundtable, and we'll be here until 6 o'clock. We got a lot of special things planned as well. Ethan's out here live with us, which has not been the case, but Fred's off this week, so we're glad to have him out here. And I have no idea who's back in the studio. Is it Daniel or James?
James is in the studio. Daniel's doing some work around there,
well,
too.
we thank them back there. And
James.
Brian is out here helping us with the remote. Let me introduce our 2 panelists here. Gene Evans, political consultant for Go Consulting, the former executive director of the state GOP. How are you, Gene?
Fantastic.
John Gaskin, Demcrat lobbyist from Jefferson City. Hello, John. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
And our 4th panelist, at least for the beginning of the show, Ethan Hannaford, ladies and gentlemen, producer extraordinaire, because here's what I want to start with. We're going to start with NCAA basketball and SLU. And I will be honest with you, I was not watching the first half. I looked at the score because someone had texted me, and they were getting smoked. So at one point, they're down 21 points. What happened?
Well, they didn't finish down 21 points. That's for sure. The Billikens ended up crawling back mostly in the second half. They were trailing by 14 at the half, and then they went on a surge in the first 10 minutes of the second half, and they ended up pulling back and winning this one 88-81 against George Washington. This was the quarterfinals, so SLU survives. It was not necessarily a pretty performance, but they found a way to get it done. Robbie Avila was excellent, as he has been all year long. He was the Conference Player of the Year, was just awarded that last week. 22 points today, and now SLU has a spot in the semifinals, and they will face off against the winner of St. Bonaventure and Dayton. There's 6 minutes left in that game, Dayton winning by 5.
All right, some other significant news today that Josh Schurz, the coach of SLU, who has been mentioned because you got a hot coach like that who is with a team that's very successful, he's going to be looked at for that next level, but they locked him into a contract, which is a good thing.
Yes, they did. Chris May announced this morning, the athletic director for St. Louis University, that he was going to be here a multi-year extension. It has not been disclosed, the details of that contract yet. Shirts kind of teased it a little bit last night. He posted that, the wide eyes emojis on Twitter. But this is a place that he wants to be. He's made that clear. He got an offer from Kansas State a couple weeks ago. They fired their head coach. So there have been bigger offers, but it sounds like SLU's also going to be putting in a little more NIL money as well.
Yeah,
so,
well,
good stuff.
I think he wouldn't have stayed if that wasn't going to be the case.
Yes.
But let's just talk about the college basketball picture. We're going to have Frank Cusumano later, but let's start the roundtable off this way with a little bit more because Mizzou pooped the bed yesterday in the first round of the SEC tournament. Now, they're likely still in the tournament. Now, some of it does depend on what happens through the weekend, but Ethan, what might have to happen is they might be an 11 seed and they would have a play-in game on Tuesday or Wednesday. So that means in order to get to the Sweet 16, you'd have to win 3 games in a row. They're on a 3-game losing slide right now. I popped off on them yesterday because I don't even think they deserve to be in it, but they will be. But if SLU doesn't win the A-10 tournament, and they lose and they're an at-large, that means the automatic bid goes to the A-10 tournament winner. And that does potentially then take a spot away from another school that's maybe on the bubble, right?
Exactly. And Frank Cusumano is the one that actually put this information out a day or two ago. Mizzou is sliding. They've lost 3 straight. If they win maybe 1 or 2 or maybe even one of those games, maybe they're a lock for the tournament, but they put themselves in a really tough position with that loss in the second round of the SEC tournament against Kentucky. If the A-10, if SLU wins the conference tournament, is going to be a 1-bid league. Now, if they lose, SLU's still going to be an at-large. So now they'll have 2 berths from the conference, and if that's the case, that's going to hurt Mizzou because they're on the bubble right now. So if you're a Mizzou fan, be pulling for the Billikens to win the A-10 tournament because that means there's a much better chance that Mizzou could squeak in.
Mizzou's not going to squeak in. They're in. Okay, I'm just going to call it right now. They're in. It's just a matter of seeding and whether they have the play-in game. But look, this St. Louis University story is great. They looked amazing in the second half. That Robbie Avila kid, we've known it since he came here with Josh Schurz, is really incredible. And I can't believe it. You guys might relate to this as well because we have NCAA first round and second round games at Enterprise Center next weekend. Did you know it's been 10 years since we've had that in St. Louis? That is hard to believe. Now, since that time, that blows me away because I was there the last time that they had
so
games.
was I.
But since that time, as you know, in order to draw events like that to St. Louis, we knew that we needed to do upgrades, and they did a fantastic job at Enterprise with the revamp. I was blown away. They did an excellent job, and that's what makes sure that we can, in a city that doesn't have a lot of opportunities like this as much anymore, get that tournament next weekend. So here's an opportunity for the city of St. Louis to shine, I hope, where you got people from all over, potentially the Midwest and the country, coming into town.
It's not just the upgrades. The St. Louis Sports Commission does a lot of work to get those. They have to guarantee sellouts, basically. Yep. And they have to guarantee those up front. And they do a great job there. We're competing with a lot of other cities that are putting a lot more money into these and that are easier to work with. One of the biggest obstacles that the Sports Commission faces is dealing with city government because it's so hard even to block off the streets so that you can have the tournament there. You have to go through 25 different people and none of them like each other. So they do a great job. It's going to draw a lot of people here. It's done it before. We may get a local team, in Illinois or St. Louis.
Look at Illinois. Yeah, we didn't mention Illinois. I should have because they're really a good team. They're looking probably at a 3 seed here. SLU maybe as high as a 6, 7, 8. Mizzou an 11 probably, and that might be the best case scenario. But look, I love the fact that we're going to get that event next weekend. The problem is, and I kind of had this experience last weekend. I went to, I think it was a night that there was a concert in Enterprise, and I had to go out west and not get on 44. So I drove toward the soccer stadium. And then I actually went to the game on Saturday night as well. The point I want to bring is if you go from our building, and you guys know our building at Park Pacific, a couple of blocks to the west, and then you keep going, man, there's a lot of stuff going on that's cool, right? Down toward Energizer Park and some of the bars and all that. It really looks like a happening place. But in the area that I am, in downtown, toward the Arch, that's the part that concerns me. And, we're having a lot of people that are coming in town, and they're going to have impressions. Now, sometimes people came into town, they saw fences around City Hall and Pelker Park.
Aren't
so
you
we're not going to have
that's
that.
no longer the case?
I am glad that's no longer the case, because I'd like us to, put a good showing on with no crime or anything like that. I was out to dinner a week ago with the new CVC head. And, we were talking about the challenges that we have to bring events into St. Louis, and we should be able to compete with Indianapolis and Kansas City and Nashville. But we have to make sure that we have the facilities and the upgrades and things like that. But I'm excited about basketball coming back next weekend. Gene Evans and John Gaskin on my Roundtable panel. We're going to go to some of the international topics as we move along here this afternoon. But let's get started on the legislature. You guys know that body very well. First of all, let me just say, they're on spring break now. Thank goodness. They work so hard. And I'm so glad that they get a few days off, like Nick Schroer and everyone. Man, I'm so glad. But, John, how close are we? Because the House did pass this income tax peel back that'll go to the ballot if, in fact, it passes the Senate, right?
Well, what's interesting is you got the Missouri Chamber of Commerce, you got groups like Greater St. Louis Inc. and other major business players who have been somewhat mum on this particular package. I think people are concerned. We all know when government is not able to step up and doesn't have the resources, we look traditionally here in St. Louis, we have looked to the business and civic community to step up. And so if services have to be cut, I think you have many business leaders who are concerned that they may have to step up and do those sorts of things. When there is less revenue, there are less opportunities for incentives, those sorts of things. So look, I think we have to be we should be very concerned about our state's revenue projections. Some people want to compare us to other states such as Tennessee. They've got Nashville. They've got a lot of great natural resources there. Not that Missouri doesn't have those things, but we have to be realistic about the fact that states like Florida, have major tourism. States like Nevada have Las Vegas. I mean, we need to be very strategic about how we compete. And we need to be thoughtful about the fact that, cutting back that sort of revenue, what that means for everyday Missourians. Are we shifting one end of the balance sheet to the next? I mean, cutting the pizza in more slices doesn't mean there's more pizza.
I like this idea because it's big and it's bold, and I think it could inject, a lot of positive things into the state. Obviously the revenue question is there. I think, and I've expressed concern about, we have a pretty high sales tax in some parts of this area already. Now, I know there's going to be carve-outs. One of the things I mentioned last week was if you go buy a car and you have to pay sales tax and it goes up a little bit, could be $1,000 or more. Right now, I'm told, well, that's not going to be a part of this. But then who's all going to get the handouts? I think, Gene, you tell me. I mean, the Republicans that I've been talking to, maybe they've been a little bit too optimistic or rosy. They think this is going to land on the ballot, right?
Yeah, I think it will.
In the fall.
What I would say, and I agree with you, that we have to be strategic.
Sure.
Our tax code is over 100 years old. At the bottom level, at $8,000 of income, you're already paying taxes. We have so many carve-outs, tax credits for so many different things.
Yeah.
It would take you, I could be on the show for 4 hours straight and not get through all the different carve-outs that we have right now. We have to redo our tax code. We need to stop taxing things we like income, and start taxing things like those video lottery machines. We should have a higher cigarette tax. We should have higher sin tax, and we should stop giving all these exemptions and giveaways to all these different groups. So those things are going to have to change in order for this to work. But the tax code hasn't been touched in over 100 years. It needs to change. The governor wants to move forward in a bold way to attract more businesses here. We're seeing these high tax states lose people. We want to attract them. We have to do more than just lower that. But bottom line is, our tax code is old, and it does not work for where we are in the 21st century.
Well, you have some changes. One of the basic things would be the gas tax. And if there's more EVs, you're going to get, fewer revenue through the gas trip. So then the gas tax. So what do they do then? Taxes for, how far we travel. Those ideas have been out there. But I understand what you're saying about the tax code. In this situation, though, they could send this to the ballot without having all the answers to what might happen next, right?
That's very true. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I mean, look, it is going to be really interesting as to how Missouri voters view this. I mean, the argument of when you go to see a mechanic, when you go to bury a loved one, I mean, they're real estate, all of these sorts of services could
have taxes put on them, right?
Significant taxes.
Even lobbyists.
Yeah, that's true.
I support that one. But that's where it gets a little challenging probably for the Republicans and for the governor. But, I mean, if we pass it, I can't see how you put something like this on the ballot, it's going to pass.
Yes.
You're going to say, do you want to cut and get rid of, eliminate the income tax? Yes, please. Right? They're not going to be answering questions beyond that.
And to Gene's credit, I think it is important that we not push something like this so quickly, that it is thoughtful in terms of how we're going to fund this and what the economic impact of the state is. Look, I think there's arguments on both sides for it, but I do think it's something we need to be strategic and thoughtful about, and it's not something that's half-baked where we look to our neighbors in Kansas and see a situation that turned out to be catastrophic.
Yeah, there are, I follow this every once in a while. There are revenue questions right now for the state, right?
Well, we had, when I went to the legislature 10 years ago, they were doing carve-outs and holding back because we didn't have enough revenue to fulfill the budget. And then we had the rich years, right, when there were all this money coming down from the feds. That was supposed to be one-time money, but agencies got used to like that largesse, and now they're cutting.
It with COVID. Yeah.
They're cutting back. So they are looking at that, but they need to redo the tax code. Just say, well, we're not going to cut income tax because we don't have enough revenue. First of all, they need to cut spending, and secondly, they need to look at taxing things again that we shouldn't be punishing people for earning money.
That's true.
Hang tight. We've got more to come here. We're live at our Fish Fry at St. Mary Magdalen. Stop number 4. Sue Thomas is out here. Ethan Hannaford, John Gaskin, and Gene Evans on my Roundtable panel. We have more coming up on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, you know what? There is an issue. Now, this was a vehicle fire. Southbound 55 approaching Lindbergh, and they've got the right lanes blocked. It's not a huge jam behind it because it's Friday, and things just tend to be lighter. Now, there was a stall northbound 55 at Potomac. Watch for that one in the 2 left lanes. But for the most part, it's moderate volume. And if you're coming to see us in Brentwood, things are fine. Westbound 64, just a little slow, the usual, approaching Hampton out through McCausland. It's a little bit of moderate volume at 270, and then slow at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Now, 70 out of downtown looks good. It's slowing at Highway K, but that's moderate volume. And again at Wentzville. If you are headed into Illinois, things look fine on the Poplar Street Bridge. Road work causing delays eastbound 70, though, coming off the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Pump up the volume. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
I think a lot of people are a little cash poor right now, and then they get nervous about refining the house because the rates are high and you have a low rate. Well, don't be worried because Stewie has the bagel loan for you. And when you refi with Stewart's American Mortgage, and this could be in Illinois or Missouri, you have no appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no broker fees. And that's because he does something very creative, and he does it on his own. So you're going to not have to sit through a line of people to get to Stewie himself. I'm going to give you his cell phone number. Google the bagel loan or just text him and say, hey, explain to me how this works. He has quick closes, too, in as little as 10 days. He's extremely personable. He's got a lot of passion. This is what I love about a lot of my sponsors, a ton of passion and knowledge. And there's a big difference because with Stewart's American Mortgage, you pay less and you keep more of your money. And who would not want to do that? Outstanding customer service. It's really Stewie and his son, Jordan, that do all the work and handle the loan. So Google the bagel loan or call his personal cell. A lot of people like to text 314-324-4040. NMLS number 226715.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Home power used to be simple. Now the car plugs in, the scooter plugs in, the space heater plugs in, and your electric panel starts popping.
That sounds bad, but I like popcorn.
Popcorn is great, sparks are not. Call Grasser. We'll upgrade your panel so you can run it all.
Electric and plumbing, the Grasser way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings, up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis conservative.
All right, welcome back. We are live at our Fish Fry, sponsored by Apache Village RV Center. They have locations in Hazelwood and O'Fallon. We're going to be here until 6 o'clock, having a lot of fun. A live Sue's News in the next hour. We have a roundtable going on right now. Excuse me, John Gaskin on the panel, and Gene Evans as well. Before we get into some of the international and national stuff, I wanted to share a story that was in the Washington Post this morning, written by Selena Zito, who is a frequent guest on my show. And it's interesting because she's getting columns in the Washington Post, and that would not have happened before. Usually it was the Washington Examiner. The reason I bring that up is because they're opening up different avenues for different opinions at the Washington Post, and it's pretty clear. But she wrote a column about Pittsburgh. That's where she's from, Pennsylvania, and there's a new mayor there called Corey O'Connor. And I knew the last guy a little bit. I didn't really know him, but I interviewed him, Bill Peduto, one of the former Democrat mayors, very progressive, very, very lefty. And what she writes about is, and this would be like guys reading about St. Louis, about the rotten decline of parts of the city. The infrastructure has been, neglected as well. The downtown corporate tax base eroded dramatically. Vacant storefronts, homeless camps, drug deals. I mean, this is right around our building where we usually are if we're live. So the point of her story was, though, and this is where I think it's relatable. The new mayor says, we got away from the basics, and this is exactly what happened with with Kara as well, because the move, this is what Selena writes, the move toward the center left with a campaign focus less on social justice tropes and more on fiscal issues shows why he won. And it might be a lesson for the National Party, John, is what they're saying, because there was a recipe after 2 progressive mayors in Pittsburgh looking at the decay of downtown saying, hey, they're not going to elect a Republican, clearly, but we have to elect someone who is more focused on the basics. I would say that we did that with Kara, right? She's not spending her time sending out news releases about Iran and all these other things, but it was pretty stark the way that and I would suggest people read that column. I put it up on X, formerly Twitter. You can follow at Mark Reardon, KFTK. It really does parallel St. Louis. So I don't know, as a Democrat, John Gaskin, is there a bit of a pivot, recognizing that the lunatic fringe on your side is not grabbing voters?
Well, I mean, look, people care about where they live. And it really leads, it's funny you say that, because it leads to a conversation that's been happening here in the St. Louis region. We make decisions when life becomes uncomfortable. And as it relates to regional fragmentation, the county doesn't have any money. The city is not rich. The state is facing financial challenges. And it's caused people to come to the table who were not at the table to say, look, we don't have any money. We're having to cut services, and we're fearful of how citizens may react to that. Look at St. Louis County. Who would have ever thought the sitting county executive would be having conversations, whether he's running for re-election or not is a moot point, would be having conversations about moving the county government center to the city of St. Louis? I think it speaks to the deferred maintenance on the building in Clayton. I think it speaks to the real serious economic challenges. Now, what that looks like, Gene talked about it a little earlier as it relates to economic development downtown and bringing tournaments and things like that. One of the reasons companies don't want to come to St. Louis is because you have to do tic-tac hopscotch and deal with 20 different leaders.
Look, I was a supporter, however long ago that was, when we were talking about the merger, right?
Yeah.
But I was a supporter because I thought it was like the chance, the opportunity. I didn't like all the things about it. And I understand that people in the county don't want to take on the people in the city's problems, but they're really there was an opportunity there that just fell apart very quickly to, really take advantage and to make government more efficient. Well, it failed. It failed very quickly. And I don't think I know what Sam Page is doing right now. That's not going to result in anything.
No.
But it's frustrating because those problems that existed a decade ago with the need to consolidate and not have repetitive services, they're not getting better. They're getting worse, and we're never going to fix it.
Consolidate a lot of services.
I agree, Gene.
They have. And I actually think that's the route to take.
Yep.
These grand plans where you come up and you tell people this is how it's going to be. And then with Better Together, they were making Steve Stenger king. And this was before he was indicted.
Right.
But there were a lot of people in St. Louis County who were not comfortable with that. There's still people who never want a merger. They're going to continue to be, they're like never Trumpers, only they're never a merger. But there is a way to continue to merge services and do things together. Right now, you can't. The Board of Aldermen in the city doesn't agree with the mayor, and Sam Page can't get along with his government. You think you're going to get all these people together in a room and actually run things? No, it's not going to work. And you having a bunch of highly paid consultants come together and say this is how we're going to run government is not appealing to the average taxpayer. So you can certainly merge services, and they should, and they do to a certain extent.
Yep.
But there's more. There's way more that they could do in terms of merging services. And I will say this. I know there's some complaints about the money downtown because of the police. We are talking a lot less about crime these days than we were for the last 10 years that I've been doing this show. We've talked about crime all the time, but crime is coming down. And I
had Melissa Price Smith in earlier this week, the new St. Louis. Well, she's not even new. She's been there for a year after Wesley Bell. Yes. Well, and I think part of that is because we have prosecutors doing their job. The police know that they have support, right? And that's cooperation that's ending in good things, I think, or resulting in good things.
Yeah, it's coming down all over the country. It's still going up in some super left cities. But as far as the Democrat Party, you have to just look at New York. They elected the most radical progressive they possibly could. He represents more people than most governors.
That's true.
And he's being supported, and they're already seeing services, they can't pick up the trash. He didn't want them to clean up the homeless encampments because he thought it wasn't fair, and then these homeless people died in the storm. Like, his brand of governing is already showing how horrible it is, and it's making the city worse. I don't know what you have to do to get through to some people that they quit electing these incompetent.
Yeah, he's on your team, John. Mom Donnie, you have him. You got to own him.
Whether you're on the left or whether you're on the right, the reality is it is very easy to have these pie-in-the-sky policy ideas, but when you have to actually govern, that's when the rubber really meets the road. And, look, the reality is we've got some real challenges here in St. Louis. And in order to get past them, Gene, talked about it too, there are a lot of consolidation things that can be done that are less scary, that save municipalities a lot of money. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
But where is that going to come from? Where's the leadership? Now, I would say Senator Brian Williams, who probably is the favorite for county executive, has I've spoken with him. He wants to solve problems, right? He knows that some tough decisions have to be made. So we need better leadership moving forward. John Gaskin's on the panel with Gene Evans this afternoon doing a live roundtable at St. Mary Magdalen in Brentwood, where they'll serve fish here in a little bit. All right, Gene, let's talk about Iran and what's happening with that right now. An amazing military exercise, there's no doubt about that, not even exercise, attack, and the way that this has been implemented. We don't have a specific timeline. I think that's still something that people want to know about. The polling is a little mixed on this right now. What are your thoughts as we are almost at the 2-week point of that attack on Iran?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, they have been at war with us for 40-something years. I mean, we're old enough to remember, when those hostages were taken.
Rocky Sickman. I would wake up every morning, look at the Globe Democrat, and see the days
yellow
that
ribbons,
they've been, right?
So that's been going on, and you can go through the whole timeline of them attacking us. I think the biggest question is who is going to emerge from this vacuum of leadership, right? Who's going to lead Iran? Because it can't be the United States. It has to come from within. And the guy the guy's son who's in a coma or whatever, that's not it. So who's going to arise? And I don't know. Sometimes when you have this vacuum, the person or movement that arises is not necessarily what you wanted it to be. So we've
had a really good record of that in this country, unfortunately. Well, that's the part that worries me, because I understand going in, taking out their military capabilities, blowing up the Navy. I'm down with that. But there is no way to wave a magic wand and get the resistance to take over as a new regime and all of a sudden have the best democracy in the Middle East.
And it's a deeply embedded religious cultural, so their religion, their culture, and their nationalism is all very much tied together. That doesn't mean they all identify exactly the same, but it's not where you have a lot of varying views like you have maybe, in Venezuela. You have a majority Muslim country, and there are extreme Muslims who've been in charge for a very long time. But that was such a thriving culture in the Middle East at one time. I mean, I'd be thrilled if it became more westernized just for the women and girls there so they could have like some shot at a normal life. That is a country I would never go to because it's not safe for women at all. And by the way, I'd love to see some of my feminist friends here in the United States stand up for the women, the soccer players from Iran, instead of out here yakking about hockey players or men in women's bathrooms. We need to stand up for women all over the Middle East who can't even learn to read.
Well, one of the things why so many Americans are against it, first of all, I fully support our troops who are over there and those who have put their lives on the line to defend freedom around the world. But the reality is so many congressional leaders, Democrat and Republican, have some real questions about what this operation looks like. People are really concerned. We've got a lot of domestic issues here. This is costing us somewhere around $1 billion, probably north of that a day. Think about what we could be doing here within our own borders. I mean, charity starts at home. The president campaigned on America First. And now we are engaged in a lot of things around the world as prices continue to be a challenge. And people are really concerned about gas as well.
I think politically it was maybe the dumbest thing he could have done, but he knows that.
He didn't do it for political reasons. I mean, he did it because he believes it's the right thing to do. I 100% believe that.
I don't disagree with that. But look, gas prices aren't going to come down automatically. And if this drags on to the point where, okay, wait, we don't have the nuclear capabilities that are wiped out, we don't have a regime that we're pleased with, It's mid-March, okay? We're already this, midterm situation is going to be here before we know it, and there is risk. And to John's point, look, there's prices that have gone up. We got some good things happening, certainly still in the economy, but people are still feeling pain. And if they start feeling it at the pump, thinking, wait, what are we doing messing around with Iran? That's going to reflect on the Republicans. On the other hand, if it does drop relatively quickly, we've seen oil just go crazy here in the last couple of weeks, then there's not as much risk. Hang tight. Ethan's waving at me saying I got to take a break. We'll take a break. We're coming back with more. We're live at St. Mary Magdalen. It's Fish Fry Fridays on the Mark Reardon Show.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've got a stall southbound 55 at Richardson Road. Watch for that thing on the left shoulder. We do have some volume down there, but it's mainly moderate. And there was an accident northbound 55 at Potomac. Watch for that one in the two left lanes. That is causing a delay. And I heard from Jane Duker, who's driving around downtown, and she said they are paving here, and it's crazy. She got caught in what I got caught in on Monday. So be careful around there. They do have some lanes shut down and kind of make you go in circles trying to get around it. And that's near Olive at Tucker. Southbound 170 slow at 64. Westbound 70 looks fine out of downtown. Little slow out at the 64 split. And on the Illinois side, eastbound 70 jams at 64, all due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. If you're the victim of a careless driver due to no fault of your own, the only way to know what your case is worth is by uncovering the full extent of your injuries. At Kaufman Townsley, we work with the top doctors in St. Louis. We'll help you get the expert medical care you need and fight to get you the maximum money you deserve. Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
The colder weather is here, and my friends at Hanson's Tree Service want to offer you a 10% winter discount for all tree care scheduled between January and March of next year. Mark Cox here. Call now. Get your spot secured. Also, when it comes to winter plant health care, it's a great time to get one of their arborists over. Have them to prescribe the best treatment options for your trees during the fall and winter season. Tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. Schedule your appointment today at hansonstree.com.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
This season, step up to the ultimate game day experience with Cardinals all-inclusive tickets. Enjoy a full buffet, complimentary bar, and unbeatable views inside Busch Stadium. It's great food with great company for every pitch, hit, and home run. Choose your experience in the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Professional Red Jacket Club, and more. See the game like a VIP with all-inclusive tickets. On sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, buy one, get one room of carpet cleaned for free, unlimited rooms of carpet. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them 97.1 sent you.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time is 3:36. This time's check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From Festus to Freeburg, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Friday, St. Mary Magdalen in Brentwood. It's sponsored by Apache Village RV. Sue is out here, Ethan Hannaford as well, and they'll be participating in our events in the 4 o'clock hour, including a live Sue's News. We'll have Paul Hall with some streaming recommendations and theater. We have some, I think, some openings this weekend. Frank Cusumano in the 4 o'clock hour. I'm so excited. John O'Leary is going to come by in person at 5 o'clock. I'm going to give Ethan credit because he kind of came up with this idea. And he had, of course, the film Soul on Fire that was made about John's life that was released in the fall. It's on Netflix right now. It's one of the top 10 streaming films in the country, and his story is amazing. Our golf correspondent, Dan Reardon, no relation, will bring by. He'll come by in the 5 o'clock hour as well. All right, so let's talk about John Gaskin and Gene Evans' Lobstergate. And let me play this soundbite with my friend Scott Jennings the other night with Paul Begala, who's making all kinds of weird claims about all this. The story is that the U.S. military was treated to a bunch of lobster and crab and, steak, and that's controversial for Paul Begala. Here he is.
He has spent $15 million in 1 month for ribeye steak, $6.9 million for lobster tail, $225 million for furniture. He spent more in the month of September than most countries on earth spend in their defense.
Paul, do you believe
himself? Lobster tails?
Do you believe
while our troops are eating MREs?
No. Do you believe the Secretary of Defense is personally eating all the lobster?
Well, he can't eat 16. Troops. Oh, really? The troops are getting lobster
frequently.
Brothers defect has steak and lobster. How's your steak and lobster?
All right. Damn, you're decent.
How's yours?
I'm ready for war.
We're going to war.
Theater.
My God.
Troops who are going to war.
Oh, my God.
Great meal. You know that.
They're getting lobster. You are so full of it.
You're going to get killed over this.
You're
going to get killed over this. Internet, do something.
I might have to double it. I had to run it back.
Yeah, the internet did do something, and here's the deal. Like, TMZ has this headline, Pete Hegseth blew billions on fruit baskets, lobster. So in 2009, when Robert Gates was Secretary of Defense during the Obama administration, there was a story that said the lobsters and crab legs are shipped from the U.S., driven down on a refrigerated truck from Bagram. On seafood night, the crew serves up 400 tasty tails, 130 pounds of Alaskan king crab, 135 pounds each of shrimp and scallops. 2024, Joe Biden, Lloyd Austin, Secretary of State. Military spent $103.7 million on meat, fish, and poultry, including $16.6 on ribeye steaks, 147 orders of lobster tail for $6.1 million, even some blueberries and ice cream for $100,000. So the point of all this is it's happened. It's happened for a long time. It's a tradition in the military. But when Trump's president, Gene, it becomes controversial. Yep. And the late night talk show hosts got to talk about it, even though the guy in the White House immediately before this did this 2 years ago, and it wasn't a big deal.
There's no shame. I mean, they say these things. They don't even look to find out what the relevance is and if it's happened before. And
well,
by the way,
Magdalen in particular, that was just embarrassing.
But by the way, if you're willing to go to war and take a bullet for me, get them all the shrimp, lobster, steak, whatever they want. I'm all for it. Most of the time, military people are not eating great food. That's true. So every now and then they get this nice meal. It's been going on forever. But like you said, I mean, every day there's like a new scandal about Trump or someone in his administration. And there are some scandals there, but it's hard to pick through all the BS and find out. I mean, you can find things to criticize about. You don't have to keep making things up. I mean, that's my point. No president is perfect. Find something relevant to criticize, because otherwise people like me are tuning everything out because I'm tired of all the complaining and all these made up stories. You can't even get me to the real stuff because you're just giving me so much BS.
John?
Well, I hope they bought, beef from here in Missouri. Our cattle ranchers here need that support, and that'd be great. But look, the bottom line is these folks are serving our country now. Is it a good use of dollars? I don't know. I'm not on the House Appropriations Committee in Washington. But the bottom line is we should be trying to, make good fiscal decisions. But, I mean, look, like Gene said, we need to be focused on the things that Americans care about, which is the price of gas, the price of beef, the price of poultry, things like that everyday Americans are dealing with. Let's not deal with distractions.
Well, in fairness, John, and I've said this the last couple of weeks, because I do think it is completely legitimate to ask questions and demand transparency on some of the fiscal aspects.
Absolutely,
of this.
100%.
So I don't disavow any questions, because look, a year ago we're talking about DOGE, right? Last summer we obliterate the nuclear capabilities, except we didn't.
Right.
So we got to go back in, and there's a lot of money. I know you made reference to this earlier. I'm someone who has always considered, and it's a little different here because, look, the Department of Defense, this is a constitutional responsibility that we have, right? So the money being spent in that area is a little different than the discretionary spending. There's a mandate to do that. But that doesn't mean that all examination of how we spend that money is off the table, in my mind. A lot of Republicans think it's verboten to even talk about the Department of Defense. I don't, especially if these things start dragging further. So I think there's some tricky territory here, just because you don't know who's going to step up in Iran when it comes to the regime, as we were discussing earlier.
These folks that are screaming about soldiers getting lobster are not screaming about all the fraud going on in Minnesota, in California, and some of these other states. I mean, if you really want to look at fraud, then let's look at fraud instead of these made up.
Did you hear the story? The CBS did this story in California about the hospices, and how many hospices were located in a specific, very small square mile radius, and how there were 87 companies in one building. These were not legitimate, hospices, but they were sucking off the government, getting a lot of money, all in this LA area. Now, I give credit to CBS News because they're doing a little investigative reporting here that's actual journalism. But to Gene's point, you guys, John, your side told us there was no fraud and abuse. There's a lot of fraud and abuse out there.
There's fraud and abuse that is everywhere. I think it should certainly be looked into. We have some of it even locally with somebody who was in the building division here in the city.
That was a story that just came out in the last couple of days, right?
Someone who used to date a former mayor's father. There's a lot of challenges as it relates to that. So, it happens everywhere. It happens on both sides of the aisle. There should be levels of accountability. And it shouldn't just be partisan. If we really want to talk about doing the right thing, it should be done on both sides.
So I'm not going anywhere for spring break this year. We didn't have the ability to plan anything because winter got kind of crazy. But a lot of people are heading out today, tomorrow, this week, whatever. I know Steve Butts went out to the A10 tournament. He almost had to head right back, but SLU ended up winning that game. But we have DHS now, Gene, that's shut down for a month, right? And Democrats unwilling to pivot on this. These lines are going to be really long for some people this weekend. We're already seeing that.
This is insane. Okay, they demanded that the secretary be fired, Kristi Noem. She was fired. They wanted changes in Minnesota and Minneapolis. Those changes were made. They got what they wanted. Now they say, no, they have to change the policy. Well, guess what? That's your job, Congress. If you want to change the policies of how we do enforcement, that is done at the congressional level. They're not doing anything different that they didn't do. I mean, Tom Homan did this under Obama. Nothing else has changed. If you don't like the way it's being done, you have to change the laws. I think they're getting way out over their skis on this. You know, the TSA, other folks going without checks. If one person slips through, I mean, we've already seen some domestic terrorism. The Democrats have got to come to the table on this. They got everything they wanted. Now they just seem like whiny babies.
Yeah, John, what is the end game here? I mean, come on.
Well, obviously, I'm not privy to the conversations in D.C., but what I do know is, you know, you look at Kristi Noem, and we want to talk about government waste. We talk about the private jet that she was flying around on and the cost of the fuel and all like that.
Well, she's gone, and she should be. And I was a critic of Kristi Noem, okay?
And she is, but I do think Democrats need to be very strategic about this because, as Gene had mentioned, you know, the last thing we want is for someone to get hurt or innocent people to be caught in the crosshairs. And Congress needs to do its job. If they want to change the policies, they need to change the policies.
All right, we're going to take a break. One more segment to go. We're live at St. Mary Magdalene's Fish Fry Friday is sponsored by Apache Village RV Center.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some volume out there, nothing terrible. Westbound 70, a little slow at Jennings Station Road, and then pretty much Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through Wentzville. Now, 64 is the usual volume, so that's approaching Hampton, out through McCausland, and then again out at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Southbound 270, most of the volume there is south of Page, down through Doherty Ferry, and a little bit of Gravois. 55 slows at Bates, and also at 141, some moderate volume down at Richardson Road. Now, on the Illinois side, it's road work causing delays eastbound 70 at 64 and at 157. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This month, 97.1 FM Talk in Action spotlights Helmets First, a nonprofit promoting kid safety through free bike helmets, education, and partnerships with local police. Officers help fit helmets and connect with kids in the community. Learn how you can help at helmetsfirst.com.
Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate. Evans is a proven fighter and the only candidate for U.S. Senate with guts and know-how to get the job done. As an attorney, she took on China and corporate criminals. Jeannie Evans won billions for working families. As senator, Evans will fight and win for you. She'll work to cut taxes and lower the cost of living. Evans believes that keeping Illinois safe will take more than just wishful thinking. It takes courage, and Jeannie Evans has the record to prove it. Evans will always be tough on crime. She'll hold China accountable for trafficking fentanyl and stealing our personal data. Jeannie Evans puts America first. A proven fighter. Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate.
I'm Jeannie Evans, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeannie for Illinois.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and we're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and the repair is quite costly, and it might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you. That we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. Is what I would put in my home, is what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis Conservative.
It's the Reardon Roundtable. We're live at St. Mary Magdalen Fish Fry Fridays, and we expect the crowd to build here in the next hour for sure. Gene Evans and John Gaskin both on the Roundtable panel this afternoon. Sue's standing by with a live Sue's News for next hour. A couple things that I just want to kind of close the hour with. I saw this, and Gene, one of your focuses in the past and currently is on education, education reform, school choice. There was a LA Times story this week, and you can't tell me this is not something perhaps replicating itself, maybe on lower numbers elsewhere, but there was a survey that revealed about 50% of California teachers might quit soon. And the teachers are getting driven crazy. I got a son who's a teacher on the south side of Chicago, and it's a tough situation right now. I mean, I think he's surviving. He's trying to get through the year.
Teacher burnout is real. This is another area where we have a system that's, it's basically our education system is based on a 200-year-old agrarian model that doesn't really work anymore. But there's tremendous pressure on teachers. Now, we do find in states with school choice, teachers are paid better and happier. They're having that competition and that opportunity for specialization favors teachers, and they enjoy it. So to me, school choice helps not just students and families, but teachers. So I would love to see that. But the legislature continues to try to control this by making more rules and putting more on teachers. And actually, every year there's a bill filed that says, parents can sue teachers if their demands aren't met, which fortunately none of that has passed yet, but that's the point we're at. And we already have a teacher shortage.
Gene, you're so correct. We say we value our educators, but we don't really treat them the way that we should.
That's right.
And making it so that teachers can be personally sued, because something, a parent may have a bad experience, talking to people who are in the education field. Your son, I commend him, grew up in a family of teachers. It is really hard. There's a lot of anger that children have following COVID. You have a lot of parents that unfortunately talk to teachers any kind of way.
Right.
It is not, the environment is not one, particularly here in Missouri, I'm sure it's everywhere, that really encourages, folks to want to go into the field.
Yeah, I think you're right, and
it's hard.
That kind of
good
scares
teachers
me.
leave.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Well, and because a lot of it's, and they point this out in this story, a lot of it is because of finances, but they say nearly half of California teachers surveyed plan to retire or quit in the next 10 years. Nationwide, they say that's about 35% of teachers plan to leave the profession in the next decade. Those are probably people aging out and maybe retiring, but are we drawing enough people to the profession?
No.
Like my son in particular, it was funny, when we were watching, it was COVID when he graduated, so we didn't go to the graduation ceremony, we watched it on TV, but it was like, girl, 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 boy, girl, 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 girl. There's like no male, which gives him a little bit of an advantage, but man, no male teachers.
Yeah, well, I think the average tenure now for a new teacher is about 4 years. So they're not sticking around. And the ones that are really talented are doing other things. If you're a talented teacher, there's a lot of other jobs you can do as well. So they are leaving, and then we're left with those who maybe they're super dedicated, or maybe they just couldn't find something else. We got to change the system.
What did you mentioned your family teachers. I saw you on Facebook this week. Were you honoring your grandmother? What was the deal with that? It was
so
beautiful pictures.
Yeah. So the NAACP has a national partnership with the CME Church, the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, which is a historic black denomination, and they were honoring my grandmother for her contributions for Women's History Month. She was a member of Murchison Tabernacle CME Church up near UMSL. Very dedicated. They were extremely supportive of her political ambitions and the NAACP, and they were paying tribute to her, thanking her for her legacy of service.
That's really nice.
That's awesome.
You looked very handsome in your suit, Jeff.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate
it. I still have to get you a Mark Reardon Show shirt. So
I'm looking forward to it. I'll wear it next time.
We will close out kind of the way we started here, and we're going to talk about this a little bit in the next hour, but SLU had an amazing victory after being down 21 points, somehow come back, and they beat George Washington to make it to the next round of the A10 tournament. One of our Roundtable regulars, Steve Butts, is there at the tournament. In fact, I've heard we have a good turnout of St. Louisans in Pittsburgh,
Well,
which is where
Steve
this
Butts
is taking place.
just a great St.
Isn't he
Louisan.
great?
He's a great fan and supporter of the St. Louis as well as the Billikens.
He really is. By the way, on the topic of Pittsburgh, I was referring to that column that Selena wrote earlier. One of the reasons that she wrote about that and was talking about some of the differences in Pittsburgh is because the eyes of at least the country are going to be on Pittsburgh here in a couple of weeks with the NFL draft. The NFL has done this cool thing where they've moved it around from Vegas to Green Bay to Pittsburgh, and that is a big, big football town. But, you have a lot of people coming from out of town, and it'll be the same situation that we have next weekend to a certain extent with the NCAA tournament. But thank you guys for taking time to come out here to the Fish Fry. I know that you guys have done this before, but we love doing it live. We get big crowds that tend to build a little bit after the roundtable because of the timing. All the kids are getting picked up from school, etc. But we always have a great time, and it's good to see. And we'll see what happens with all these situations with the legislature and in Washington. Never a dull moment, right?
No.
Well, good to see you guys. Thank you very much. Ethan, we're going to wrap it up here for this hour. And when we come back, I do want to talk a little bit more about basketball and get updated on the scores. I know we have Cusumano coming a little bit later. But let's talk about John O'Leary, because John is locked in to come in person. We have caught up with him a couple of times in the last 6 months because of the movie that came out. And it's exciting because his story really did connect and resonate with so many different people. The movie's on Netflix right now. For those people unfamiliar with John O'Leary's story, you'll hear it in the 5 o'clock hour. He's an awesome guy.
Certainly. Yeah, it's definitely going to be something you want to listen to. If you can't listen to it live, it'll be available on the Odyssey app as well. The only contingency upon him coming was that you have to make sure he gets fish. So as long as you can do that, he's going to be okay.
I'm going to take good care of him. Have you guys ever met John, Gene, or John Gaskin?
I have not. I'm going to have to stick around.
He is an amazing person.
Yeah.
He really is. And just
I've heard him speak before.
The level of his positivity, and he's very inspirational. So that's coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Also, we have Dan Reardon coming by. Dan is going to his, I think he said 39th Masters here in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
We're going to talk a little golf. I had a great story from earlier this week that was in, I think, the New York Times and The Athletic about caddies and how sometimes caddies fire their players. Sometimes the players fire the caddies, but sometimes the caddies fire the players. The Players' Championship is going on right now. It's been a very exciting day, and Dan will give us all the updates on that, and he'll be here live in person. We're coming back live from St. Mary Magdalen, Fish Fry Fridays on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, if you're downtown, there's been an accident reported on westbound 70 before Salisbury, and that has created a jam that's coming back in front of the Arch grounds. So a slow go there. Westbound 40, it's the usual. So Kings Highway out through McCausland, and that's moderate volume. And then to the west at Lake St. Louis Boulevard, 70 isn't that bad. I mean, you've got the accident downtown, but then things open up. Moderate volume at 141 and at Highway A. And then there's a little bit just past Forestell. Now, southbound 270 has moderate volume, but that stretches from south of Page down through 44. And we've got 55 slowing at Bayless, a little at 141, and a little to the south of there. If you're headed into Illinois, things are fine on the Poplar. Slow coming off the Stan Musial, and volume eastbound at 64 at 157. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Let me guide you into Generator Supercenter of St. Louis, because this is a perfect time. I didn't really hear the winds too much last night, but look, we have storms that are always possible here as we head into the spring. We have a power grid that's failing. We have had areas of the country with some of the winter storms that were out of power for a couple of weeks. And, you know, these stories happen, then they go away, and we never think about that. But in order to be better prepared for the entire situation, I want you to get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. And there's a big difference between Generator Supercenter and competitors. Some of the HVAC guys get into this, but they don't specialize in it. You're going to get someone who knows what they're doing with the top name in generators, all the warranty work. You have to kind of take care and do maintenance of these machines just like you do anything else. And Generator Supercenter sells, installs, maintains, and monitors Generac automatic standby generators. So how about a free estimate? And financing is available. They have a showroom in Chesterfield on the Airport Road. The website, GeneratorSuperCenterOfSt.Louis.com, or call 314-499-2020. Again, GeneratorSuperCenterOfSt.Louis.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
The ACA Market Plan has just announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has 0 outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg, and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. The work is guaranteed, and it's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. No extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, since 1926, 100 years. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, an Odyssey station.
Which killed an ROTC instructor.
The Justice Department announcing charges against Kenya Chapman, who's accused of selling a stolen .22 caliber gun to Mohammed Jalloh, a convicted felon who was not allowed to possess a weapon, accused of asking if ROTC members were in classrooms at Virginia's ODU Thursday before shouting Allahu Akbar, then opening fire, killing one and injuring 2 others, before other students tackled and killed the terror suspect, a naturalized U.S. citizen from West Africa.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Jalloh was a former Army National Guard member who pleaded guilty to ISIS-related charges in 2017, but was granted early release from prison in 2024. The man who rammed a car into a Michigan synagogue yesterday was also a naturalized U.S. citizen from Lebanon.
The individual had recently suffered devastating and personal losses overseas due to an Israeli airstrike on his family's home in Lebanon, leaving 2 children dead. That grief is real, and it's heartbreaking. But let me be clear. That is not an excuse.
Mo Badoun is the mayor of Dearborn Heights, where the suspect lived. He was killed during yesterday's attack, which remains under investigation. The Pentagon is sending about 5,000 sailors and Marines to the Middle East as Operation Epic Fury continues.
It's not clear how they will be used, but I'm told this gives the commander options. News that the Pentagon had signed off on sending the USS Tripoli was first reported by the Wall Street Journal.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. The State Department now offering a reward of up to $10 million for information on Iran's Revolutionary Guard leaders, including the new Supreme Leader. At least 13 U.S. service members have been killed since the operation began. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We have a pretty nice evening on the way, and the bulk of the weekend is going to be quite mild until we get to Sunday night. Partly cloudy skies tonight, 38 for the low. Saturday, partly sunny, breezy, 66 the pick day of the weekend. Saturday night, clouds take over, windy and mild, 55. Sunday, rain and thunderstorms, windy. Some could be on the strong side as far as storms are concerned, 69. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sue, it is starting to smell just a little bit more like fish here at St. Mary Magdalen in Brentwood on a beautiful sunny day. How are you?
I sigh happily.
We were a little separated here during the roundtable because I had her down at the other end of the table, but now we're closer and we can do the show together here as we move forward and get closer to the weekend. We had good news on SLU. And then Ethan, just real quick, I know Frank's going to do this in a bit, but the Schurz extension, talk about that because that's big news. Not only did SLU come back from a 21-point deficit and beat GW today to make it to the next round of the A-10 tournament, but he got a big extension.
It's being rumored right now, 6 years, $20 million extension for Josh Schurz. So that has not been confirmed by the university yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if it is something along the lines of that based off of the success he's had in these 2 seasons, as well as the outside interest from other schools, some much larger than St. Louis University, that teams had at him.
Yeah, luckily they won today on the day he got the extension, because he might want to wait on that news if it didn't happen. But that was, I saw the score because somebody texted me, and I looked at the score in the first half, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I don't know what got me to turn it on, but I actually turned on the second half with about 13 minutes left. And even with 6 minutes left, it was a 2-point game, maybe even with less than that.
Whoa, what did I do?
Because it looked like SLU was starting to, once they grabbed the lead, they were going to run away with it. But then it didn't happen that way.
What did
GW
I tell
pulled
you?
close.
They started getting close. I said, you better turn your TV off right now.
Right, he did text me that because I watched the comeback. But that's great news, and Frank's going to have all the very latest on that. And we'll get you covered on the NCAA scenarios as we head into the weekend with Mizzou, Illinois, and St. Louis University. So we love to do these fish fries. We are at stop number 4, which is hard to believe. Roby Muntz is here, who is one of the organizers, and St. Mary Magdalen. It's starting to smell really good. Roby, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Mark?
I'm good. Where does that name come? That's a unique name, Roby.
It is, and there's no real meaning behind it. So Robert is my real name, but they've always called me Roby.
Oh, okay, so it's Robert. I like that, though.
But there's no family history to it. It is what it is.
It's cool. I like it. And you have your son with you. What's his name?
I do. This is Jack.
Jack, how are you? Jack is how old? Get on that microphone. He wants to talk on the air.
I'm 10 years old.
10 years old. That puts you in 5th grade or 4th grade?
I'm in 5th grade.
5th grade. Are you going to make it to 6th grade, Jack? Do you think you're going to make it to 6th grade, or are they going to hold you back? How are your grades?
I think I'm going to make it to 6th
All right, good. That's good to hear. All right. Roby's happy to hear that, too, I think, right?
There we go.
All right. Well, we love the way that, all of the fish fries that we visit, we've been all around to 3 of them already. We got a couple more stops. But what makes St. Mary Magdalen special? Because you're going to serve a lot of dinners here in the next couple hours, aren't you?
I think we're the best. So we've got the best food. I was just telling somebody was asking me a minute ago, what does everything come in already made? I'm like, no. We hand bread everything. Everything's hand breaded. Everything's cooked. There's nothing out of a box. We're going to probably do close to 3,000 pieces of cod tonight. We got a drive-through out the back, which is unique. We're going to do probably 300 cars in an hour and a half, or in 3 hours. So I mean, it's we roll.
Do you have salmon? Because I remember your salmon being good.
We have salmon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
salmon.
So everybody makes fun of me because I pronounce it salmon. So, and I told the guys in the kitchen who got you guys on the radio right now that I was going to prep go for the salmon. So yeah.
Well, what else is on the menu?
So we got cod. Obviously, we have cod tacos as well. We've got salmon. We've got shrimp, fried shrimp. We've got gumbo. We got green beans, almondine. We've got 3-bean salad. We've got coleslaw. We've got fresh chips that we fry back there. We got baked macaroni and cheese. We got all kinds of stuff.
Awesome. Green beans, almondine. I am impressed by that. That sounds delicious.
They are delicious. Dennis and Charlie are back there making them right now.
That would go well with salmon.
What makes them almondine?
Little slivers of almond.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not a big green bean guy.
Green beans are awesome.
Becky likes them. It's like Thanksgiving. We have the green bean mac and cheese, of course.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
There you go.
That'll never leave me.
I'd rather have the almonds and the salmon.
Really?
Yes.
Roby, how long have you been doing this here?
10 years or so, volunteering, coordinating / leading it, probably 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many volunteers do you have?
It takes about 75 to 80 of us tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Between the drive-through outside, volunteers in the gym, traffic control, the kitchen, serving lines, everything. Yeah, it's a lot.
Traffic control is no joke at these things. I'll tell you
there's a couple of pinch points that we have to keep our eye out. And shout out to the Brentwood Police Department. They are out there helping us as well.
That's
so
nice.
they get their lights on, and that helps.
I saw the cars when I pulled up. I was a little nervous. I may or may not have a warrant out. It's always a standing issue with me that I'm not sure.
We'll get you out the back door.
Thank you very much. Did you always have the drive-through, or did that come about with COVID?
No, we had it before that. I don't remember. I think that started probably 15 years ago, the drive-through, 10 to 15 years ago. It accelerated with COVID. For a couple of years, we actually, I think in 2020, we shut down midway through, as everything did. 21, we did only drive-through.
Yeah.
So we had the back, but then we also set up 3 lines out in this front parking lot. So, we made it work. But then 22, we came back inside. But we kept the drive-through.
Awesome. So how many total dinners do you think you're going to go through tonight?
Oh, we'll go through 1,500 meals, easy tonight. Yeah.
Good numbers, good numbers. Well, thank you for having us. We really love doing this. It gets us out and about. We had some people hanging out watching the Roundtable. We'll have others that will swing through and say hi, and we just love getting out to see people and to smell like fish, too. You must have to. Like I was saying, we were at Assumption last week. We're literally right down the hall from the fryers, and, you had to throw everything in the washing machine as soon as you got home, or the whole house would smell like fish. By the way, we're not complaining about that. I want you to know.
Trust me, I
but
get
you,
it. I
you
have certain
those
outfits
issues, right?
that I wear only for fish fry.
I get that.
Well, thank Jack and Roby. Thank you so much for having us, and we're going to have a blast here for the next couple hours.
Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Sue's going to do Sue's News in just a couple. Oh, wait. I had one thing. I was supposed to ask you about Wheel of Fortune. What's that about? Somebody told me, ask Roby about Wheel of Fortune. What's that?
Yeah. So
I almost forgot.
Yeah, back in college, I was on Wheel of Fortune.
Were you really?
They were in. I grew up in New Orleans. They were there doing a New Orleans week, college week, whatever. My brother and I both went on. He went on the actual New Orleans week. I went back to L.A. like 6 months later. He won nothing. I won a car, got the bonus round and all that.
Yeah.
So
Really?
I got that over his head.
What car did you win?
It was a Saab.
Oh, my God.
Remember that?
And I drove
yes,
that.
I do.
I drove it
loved
for 4
those.
years until the warranty
900?
ran out, and then I was like, I got to trade this in. Traded it in for a Honda Accord 04. Still, my neighbor now has that car. His daughter's
got like
driving it.
300,000 miles on it or
No, it's only
something?
got like 150.
Really?
So it'll run forever.
Now, so did you, this is fascinating to me. So you're on the regular show, like you're with Pat and Vanna and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so were you only on one episode? Is that how they
Just
do
one.
that? Okay.
Yeah, they used to before, like way back when. This was 26 years ago when I was
Saab
on it.
was out.
Before that,
Yeah, exactly.
they used
That
to
tells
give
you something right there.
They'd give you like 3 nights or whatever if you won, but that they stopped that before I went on, unfortunately.
So how cool was that,
It was
though?
fun.
Do you
It
have
was a lot of
do you have
fun.
the VHS and everything still?
I've got, it's a VHS. We turned it into a DVD. Now it's online.
Yeah. Okay. Was Vanna prettier in person than you
Oh,
expected? That's
Vanna,
always how it is.
Vanna was the star. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And
she was very nice. She came to our little, waiting room, dressing room,
The green room,
whatever. And she would talk to us, and she was very friendly. Pat, you saw on camera.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
But,
that's all right. Pat's the star, right? That's
oh
great.
my gosh! And did
That's
you,
cool.
Were you so nervous? And how did you come? Because from home, I feel like I can solve anything, but being there, maybe not.
So I won the first puzzle, and then after that, I said, "I'm good."
Yeah,
Okay.
confidence then.
Okay.
So then it was fine.
Like, did
'Cause
you have to pay taxes on the car though?
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I had the car. I had enough cash, thankfully, to pay for taxes on the car. So I ended up with a car and about $5,000. And at the time, I was struggling with contacts and glasses, so I ended up having LASIK surgery. So I had a car and new eyes.
That's a pretty good deal,
That's
I'd say.
darn good.
And you got the story to share forever,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Jack, do you ever see your dad on Wheel of Fortune? Have you watched that episode of him?
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen him yet.
Well, you got to watch it.
Oh, come
It's a
on,
big,
man.
Google it. It's out there.
So you know the game that we like to play, and we almost could have done it here at St. Mary Magdalen, but real good friend of the show and personal friend is George Gray from The Price is Right. He is the voice of The Price is Right with Drew Carey, and he's a St. Louis guy. His mom, Mama May, lives here, just turned 90. George just had a birthday a couple of days ago. So we do a little game called The Price is Wrong, and he comes in here, and we do actual items that are from Facebook Marketplace that are kind of goofy, and George is one of the funniest people you ever meet.
Yes.
We have a great, great time. And then the best thing we do is when we have people on that have no idea what the game is, like they've never seen the actual Price is Right, and they don't know how to do the $1 thing. Like Ethan, he had to learn. There was a learning curve with
he
that.
might not be the right demographic.
All right, Roby Fowler,
My
thank
dad
goodness.
watches Price is
Thank
Right
you.
every
That's his
day.
excuse.
Thank goodness I asked you about Wheel of Fortune. That's an awesome story. I love that. I love that.
I don't know who put you up to that, but
I can't remember who it was, but somebody came by here. But thank you very much. Okay, we're going to take a break. James, if you're back in the studio, Sue has Sue's News loaded here for this afternoon. Paul Hall's going to join us with some entertainment recommendations. I have something entertainment related. Ethan, did you write that down? Remember I texted you earlier and I said there was something I wanted to go over with Paul Hall?
Mark, I failed you.
Would you
But I'm
remember
going
what
to
that
get it
was?
for you. Yes, I'm
Well,
going to
because
get it for you in just a second.
I can't remember anything, so that's why I texted when I was, I think, doing something and I was
That's fair.
mobile.
I'm thinking about Almondine.
Yeah, well, we'll
With
get
the
it. I'll
salmon.
figure it out. Paul's coming up in about 15 minutes. Sue's News is next on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Now, there is a stall on northbound 55 past 255. Watch for that on the right shoulder. But for the most part, it's not bad. The worst of it is downtown, westbound 70. As you head for Salisbury, there is an accident there, and it's caused a major delay back in front of the Arch grounds. Once you get past there, things open up and really don't slow again until out at Highway A. 6440 is the same way. It's moderate volume. Hampton through McCausland, eastbound slow at Big Bend. But then it's slow out at Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and that's about it. There was an accident reported westbound 364 approaching K. A little bit of volume there. And if you're headed into Illinois, we look great on the Poplar Street Bridge, but eastbound 70 slow at 64, and 64 slows at 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
You know, so I was talking about the Price is Right with George. You know how they do the Price is Right live, right? Oh, yeah. And he's done those, but he didn't do the more recent one that was just here last week. But Susan L. Ward, I don't know if she knows the dude who did it, but she was all into it. I saw some Facebook pictures of her.
I saw that too.
So I'll have to ask her about that.
Yes.
But let's talk about what Susan does here for a living in St. Louis and how she can help you. She's a family practice attorney and really knocks it out of the park and has a ton of experience. That's something that I always emphasize because when I went through this on my own, it was someone who did not have a lot of experience, and I'm pretty convinced that did not end up well for me. But she can handle everything related to the end of a marriage, and then you get into issues that are post-divorce with modifications to existing orders, all of that. Look, there's even a great Q&A that you can go to, or a frequently asked question, if you will, lawyer selection fact on our website. If you go to stlfamilylaw.com, you press on About, you'll see something that says lawyer selection. And if you click on that, she'll advise you, in order to hire her, interview her, ask her questions, get to know her, make sure you have a good feeling. That's really important in this situation. I think you're going to like the team. They have a beautiful office in Des Peres, 314-783-9400. The website, stlfamilylaw.com. Susan L. Ward.
Ronald Reagan once famously said, "Government is not the solution, government is the problem." When it comes to economic growth, government can be a roadblock. With red tape, regulations, and subsidies, government stifles entrepreneurship and also props up businesses that deserve to go under. Unlike government, free markets encourage risk-taking, freedom to succeed or fail. Governments shouldn't be picking winners and losers, the market should. Free markets benefit the business owner and the customer by encouraging competition. Free Market enabled a young man named J.C. Hall selling picture postcards in Kansas City to turn his idea into Hallmark cards. In St. Louis, the free market made it possible for Adolphus Busch to turn his father-in-law's local beer into the world's largest brewery. A free market also means you get to send your kids to the school of your choice. Learn more about free markets at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh Radner, and I am so excited to tell you about How We Made Your Mother, a rewatch podcast looking back at How I Met Your Mother. And I'm here with Craig Thomas, who co-created the show along with Carter Bays. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Josh. Somehow it has been 20 years since the show premiered. I'm going to check the math on that. 10 years since it went off the air. And we thought that made this a perfect time to look back, see what the hell we did, and why the show still seems to resonate with fans around the world today.
Follow and listen to How We Made Your Mother wherever you get your podcast.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is The Mark Reardon Show.
Ethan, did you say that when Gene Evans was on the Roundtable, that there were people that were, because Jeannie Evans is a candidate in Illinois, separate from Gene Evans, who is here in Missouri on the Roundtable, but someone was really a fan. I think Jeannie Evans got some votes. Or did Annie actually endorse the other person? Is that what happened?
Annie endorsed someone else during her show, and someone in our comments wasn't very happy about it and was trying to tell Gene Evans, Roundtable member Gene Evans, that Annie endorsed someone else.
That's funny.
She wasn't
That's
very
funny.
happy about that.
Separate person. Okay, let's play Sue's News Open. Let's get to that.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Okay, first of all, they brought the green beans almondine, and it is delicious.
Divine.
Ethan.
Divine.
It's got garlic in it. Oh, it's so good.
I will say, even though I'm not a big fan of green beans, it smells good.
Oh, man, is it good.
Maybe I'll try some later.
Okay, I think you might like it. Happy National Canine Veterans Day. Now, this is actually a real thing that we should celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
It's dedicated to the units who have served since World War II. Apparently, we got over to Europe and saw that they were using dogs and saw, what are we doing? We need to do this too. It's a great idea. And so this is National Canine Veterans Day to all the veteran dogs.
So we're talking like bomb-sniffing dogs,
Yes.
et cetera, right?
Yes, in any capacity with law enforcement and with the military.
You know, dogs are really incredible. This is a little different, Sue, and I don't want to bring up something that's contrary to this, but I was just talking to someone. I used to do a fair amount of bird hunting, and when you go out with the dogs when you're hunting quail and pheasant, it is amazing to see their instincts and how they work.
Oh.
Like, I've been with a dog that stopped to tell me there's a bird 3 feet in front of me. I'm like, there's no bird there. And boom, all of a sudden a bird flies up. But these dogs that do these for police units and for, the military, it's really incredible.
Okay, I think of 9/11.
Yeah.
Right? And you saw the dogs walking. Ooh, that
Trying
makes
to
me,
find survivors, I know.
woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was a serious, and they were exhausted and overwhelmed just like
now-
anybody else.
And we use them a lot now. I wish we'd use them more. Every once in a while, they use them, hopefully this weekend at the TSA lines, and they don't make you take off your shoes, too.
No kidding. It's also, now we go to the ridiculous National Earmuff Day, and the picture was of a bulldog wearing those. And National Coconut Torte Day. Torte, by the way, means cake in German. National Coconut Torte, yes, please. I love a coconut cake. Ethan, yes, no.
I'm just not huge on coconut in general, so I would be, I'd be open to trying it, but it's not my thing.
I like coconut, I do.
Okay.
But moderation.
In moderation, what does that mean?
Well, like,
you're not going to eat a coconut.
I don't know if I'm going to eat a coconut, right? Here's what's funny is that we had, Alexa and I, when we were in Vegas one time, we had a coconut, what's the Italian ice stuff called?
Oh, yeah, like a gelato.
Gelato.
Yeah.
And I was surprised how much I liked that.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
really, really good.
Let me tell you, my mother, Louise Thomas, loved her some coconut. So if it came in a cake, if it came in gelato, if it came in ice cream, we had it. It's so good.
But like the Samoas, the Girl Scout cookies,
Yes.
that's
I
had some of those last night.
Those are delicious.
That's moderation.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All right, sprinkled on top.
Right.
Fair enough. It's also National Open an Umbrella Indoors Day. I don't know.
Supposed to do that.
That's what they say. They say if you want to just give it a go, it's supposed to be bad luck. So if you want to overcome superstition, today you should open an umbrella.
Why would you want to do that?
House.
Why would you want to do that?
It was bad luck.
Don't do that. Right? I don't think you should do it.
Why is it bad luck?
I don't tempt fate. I don't know.
I don't know. All right, this has some music. 50 years ago today, every time I hear 50 years old, I think of that SNL skit. 50 years ago today, in 1976, we can play the music. The Four Seasons returned to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 chart with December 1963. I love this song so much.
Oh, it's a great song.
Too.
That is not Frankie Valli singing that, by the
No,
way.
he does the
Wait,
bridge.
really? Right. No,
Yeah,
that's
I
not
didn't
Frankie
know
Valli.
that.
The lead.
He only does the bridge on this, and there's somebody else doing, the drummer is singing. But this, of course, for the kids, is from Jersey Boys, which is, of course, about the Four Seasons. Last time I saw that was at the Muni, and it was fantastic.
Me
Were
too.
you there?
Yes.
High five.
It is my favorite Now, we've been going to the Muni at least once a year since I was probably 8 or 9. It's just family tradition, something we do. And Jersey Boys is my favorite thing I've ever seen there. It is phenomenal.
Good. It's a great show. It really is. I've seen it a couple of times. You're right. Let's see. It was Jerry Pulsey on the lead.
On the lead.
Yeah, and then to your point, Frankie Valli does the bridge section, so that's awesome. Don Ciccione singing the falsetto part, so lots of singers here.
I couldn't think of his name. Thank you for that. Okay, and we play this every year, people, because 34 years ago today, in 1992, My Cousin Vinny was released.
So would you say you got a better shot at him going in and not so much coming out?
You could say that.
I did say that. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Is it possible the two youths...
Two what? What was that word?
What word?
Two what?
What?
Did you say utes?
Yeah, two youths.
What is a ute?
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. Two youths.
Okay, I love that so much.
I watched it again in the last year. It is such a phenomenal movie. Marissa Tomei so deserved the Best Supporting Actress award that she got. It's phenomenal.
Gosh.
Great, and it still holds up so well.
It totally does. That was 34 years ago today.
Ethan, have you seen that one?
So, funny story. Literally last night I was deciding, what am I going to watch? I ended up watching Crazy Stupid Love Again. Great movie, which has Marissa Tomei in it. But My Cousin Vinny is on Hulu right now, and I was like, I've never seen it. But I need to watch it.
Oh, you got to watch it. You're going to love it.
That's going to have to happen very soon.
Okay.
You will love it. It holds up completely.
Okay.
I mean, 1992, I can't believe it was that long ago. And then 4 years ago, in 2022, Tom Brady unretired from the NFL just 6 weeks after announcing his retirement. He played one more season with the Buccaneers before retiring for good. Remember that day?
Needed his MJ moment. I remember that day,
Yeah, I think that we made fun of him for doing that, and then he went on to prove us wrong, I think.
Well, no, that wasn't the year that he won the Super Bowl. But they did make the playoffs, but I think they got eliminated
Yeah, but
early.
he still did pretty well.
No, certainly. I mean, that team was still very much so in the mix and had as good of a chance as anyone. I mean, I think Tom Brady could go back now and still be better than some of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
I would agree with that. I follow him on Instagram. I'm just saying. He looks good.
He's in good shape.
Who's he dating right now? Do you know?
Well, it was supposed to be some young chick, but I don't think that panned out. Okay. And then I think his unretirement partially led to his divorce. Because I think Giselle was like, you're doing what? Again?
Really?
I think a partial.
Oh, yeah. It says, like, his relationship status may have changed again.
Yeah.
That was just from 6 hours ago. So good thing that I asked that question now. It's like it's actually moving in process in real time.
The rumored thing was several weeks ago was that he was at a party, like an after party, I think, for... I don't remember what it was, Super Bowl, or maybe it was one of the award shows, with Alex Earl, who's like the ultra mega popular podcast person.
That's my wife's, one of my wife's best friend's niece. Remember I told you that?
Yes, that's right.
That's why I asked the question, because, but I follow Alex on Instagram, as do like 40 million other people, and I don't ever see Tom Brady stuff on there.
Well, it was rumors. It was
you know
floated.
what's sweet about him? He posts a lot of stuff with his kids. Of him traveling with the kids, and granted, they go all over the place, but it's really sweet. You could tell he's a good dad.
I am not a Tom Brady hater. I'm really not.
Yeah.
I used to be, but I've grown out of that. I've grown out of that.
Okay, can you show me seconds on there?
It's kind of coming around like that.
Oh, I get it.
When it gets to the bottom, that shows 30.
That.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Tomorrow is Pi Day, P-I. So Instacart, of course, it's 314 Day, which we celebrate above and beyond. But the Instacart put out some frozen pizza data for Pi Day, since pizzas are pies. Pepperoni is America's favorite. Now, I will eat pepperoni, but that's not my favorite. What's your favorite pizza topping, Mark Reardon?
Well, I like everything. I like the Supreme, so I would go.
Same.
You know, so I probably like sausage better than pepperoni, but I get green peppers, onions, mushrooms.
Oh my gosh, totally agree. I would go sausage. Well, that sounds bad. Go ahead, Ethan.
Grilled chicken.
Grilled chicken isn't bad.
Chicken on my pizza, absolutely love it.
White sauce or red?
Can do either.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't like that with red sauce though.
Yeah, it's got to be
white. I
white.
can do like a pesto or something like that.
Oh, a pesto chicken? Oh, that sounds great. Whatever it is, it has to have mushrooms. But that is number one. Pepperoni accounted for 43% of all frozen pizzas sold last year. Dang, people.
My
You gotta
daughter.
get
that's
out
all,
more.
my daughter pretty much. She's starting to like vegetables though, but she's pretty much
Okay.
pepperoni only.
Well, maybe she'll come around. And finally, in Sue's news, based on the story we just heard, the Wheel of Fortune, this is today's random fact, wheel itself has 200 lights, 73 steel pins, and weighs 2,400 pounds. There's only one of them. So when the show goes on the road, they transport it. There's nothing else they can do. And that's it for Sue's news.
Coming back with Paul Hall, live at her Fish Fry at St. Mary Magdalen.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. March Madness starts next week, and that means lots of wagering on the games for both the men's and women's NCAA tournaments. The American Gaming Association estimates that $3.3 billion will be bet this year, and that's about a 6% increase from the year prior. It also noted that gambling with sportsbooks has increased by 54% in the last 3 years. Some worrisome news, though, for college grads in the near future. ServiceNow CEO Bill McDermott said that unemployment for new college grads could easily go into the mid-30s, meaning about 35%, in the next couple of years. Speaking on CNBC, McDermott blames the role of AI agents. Rising oil prices once again had an impact on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 119 points at 46,558. NASDAQ was off 206. S&P 500 fell by 40. West Texas crude 3% higher at $98.71 a barrel. That's Your Money Now.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SOUND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SOUND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SOUND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
I'm Ultima Morgan. Morgan & Morgan isn't just an injury firm. It's our family's life work. It's my husband, it's my sons, it's me. When we take a case, we see a family just like ours. $30 billion recovered is something I'm proud of. But what I'm really proud of are the families we stood beside. It's an honor to fight for you when you need our support the most. Morgan & Morgan, for the people and your family.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Did you know replacing old vinyl windows with more vinyl windows might not be the best choice? Hi, it's Kim, and I'm here to tell you about Infinity from Marvin Windows, because these fiberglass windows, they're energy efficient, they're beautiful, and they're custom built to fit your home perfectly. The team at Lakeside Renovation and Design just makes the process so easy. I love the fact that they even offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Look, if you're tired of drafts, high energy bills, or maybe hard to open windows, now's the time to upgrade. Visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free consultation today.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds, and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you, with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds too. Get a quote right now at 800-529-2856. 800-529-2856 or biglou.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time is 4:33. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From the gateway city to the front lines of freedom. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Well, we got a pretty big line building here at St. Mary Magdalen for Fish Fry Fridays. We have been live since 3 o'clock. We're going to be here until 6. We have John O'Leary coming by in the next hour. I'm so excited to share the update on his story made into a major motion picture, Soul on Fire, which is now streaming on Netflix. We'll talk a little Players Championship and just golf overall with Dan Reardon, who's about to head to his 39th Masters, which I think is incredible. Hall from Common Guy Films into the fray this afternoon. How are you?
You know, I'm doing well, Mark. It seems like you're talking about one of my favorite topics all afternoon here with Wheel of Fortune.
Hang on to that, but hang on to that story because I want you to share it. But I wanted to cover one more thing that we just talked about because I thought it was interesting. So we were talking about, you probably heard us talking about December 63, Oh What a Night, with the Four Seasons. So, Stu, this is interesting. When I went to Wikipedia to find out who exactly the singer was, and it was Jerry Pulsey, they say, according to Bob Gaudio, who was featured in the play, but he's the keyboard player, right? The song's original lyrics were set in 1933. The title was December 5th, 1933. It was celebrating the repeal of Prohibition.
Wow.
So the band felt that the instrumental group still would have been a hit. They disliked the lyrics. So Judy Parker, who had not written a song lyric before by that point, wrote a new set of lyrics. And Gaudio says the song was kind of a recollection of his and Parker's first meeting. In real life, Parker and Gaudio had not met until 1973. They were working as producers for Motown Records. But she kind of just wrote the lyrics from the perspective of a man recalling his first intimacy with a woman, and that's how that became a hit. So I thought that was pretty cool. A little background.
That is cool.
Now, we talked with, this is amazing, Roby, who is one of our hosts out here, said that he was on Wheel of Fortune like 25 years ago. And as I remember, you were on Wheel of Fortune, Paul Hall, right?
I was. I played with Robert Brooks from the Green Bay Packers back in the day. I learned quickly you don't let the athlete spin the wheel or guess letters for you because he does neither of them very good. But had a couple puzzles. One go my way. I knew the bonus puzzle. I did the after the buzzer saying and blurting out a phrase. So took second for the day. But, it was a nice time. And, Oprah told me I was going to be on there. So I had to do her well.
And when was that? What year?
Oh, it was the year, I believe, 96. It might have been 95 or 96.
Wow.
And I'm guessing did you burn that on a DVD or anything?
I have a VHS somewhere of it. I've searched for it online. I cannot find it anywhere. So if anyone is good at that and can find it, I'd love to see it. But,
wow, that's awesome. That'd be a bummer to lose that.
Did you win a Saab?
No, I didn't win the Saab. I won about $3,700, just cash.
That's not bad. That's not bad. All right, let's talk some movies here this afternoon. Let's get started with Slanted.
Have you ever suffered the injustice of being a person of color in this world? Have you ever had someone tell you how impressed they are, how well you speak English without an accent? Or are you just tired of the way white folks look at you? If you can't beat them, be them.
Okay, well,
that's a delight.
Heard much about this one.
It is one of those ones. I sat in the theaters with my wife at a different film, and this trailer came on, and we both turned to each other and said, seems a little cringe. It just seems like not there. It's a Chinese-American young woman who, well, she just wants to fit in. She wants to be prom queen, but she thinks the only way she can do that is if she is the white girl with pretty long blonde hair. When this weird, creepy guy company starts texting saying, we have a new procedure which will make you white to fit in, and she undergoes the knife, and it's all the resulting stuff around that. Now, it's not as creepy as it would lead you to believe. It is scary from the standpoint of people actually having these thought processes that this is the way to do things. However, it is also very prescient in that this is the way, young kids try to fit in everything they do, no matter who you are, white, black, Asian, whatever it happens to be. And sometimes we get misled into what makes us better people. This is not what makes you better people. This is a real poignant tale, and it actually grew on me the more I watched it. It's creepy at times, and it's a very cringe to watch. So I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. It's in theaters this weekend.
All right, what else you got streaming-wise?
Yeah, we got a new series. Well, let's do Fukushima first, because it's 15 years this week since the Fukushima disaster. After the tsunami hit, Fukushima melted down and became one of those places that you aren't going to go anytime soon. And this new documentary that came out on HBO Max earlier this week will take you back there, and we'll show you some footage from the days that is just devastating. You just, some people don't understand how bad that scenario really was. We were a half a world away, and we didn't necessarily get up close and personal. We have up close and personal footage here and talks with a number of the people that helped stop it and how they were viewed as kind of villains in Japan, but everybody else around the world, including here in America, viewed them as heroes in saving the rest of the country from a total disaster. It's fascinating. They compare them to Vietnam vets in that they thought they were doing the right thing, but the people around them just didn't give them the credit they deserved for what they did. It's a fascinating documentary. It's over on Max.
I also want to talk about Rooster. I haven't started it yet. Did you say last week that you liked it? I can't remember.
I love it.
Okay.
I've been through about 6 episodes myself. It's releasing one a week. And quite frankly, I can't wait till I can get into the rest of them. Steve Carell is very good in this. First episode's probably one of the, not as good as it gets. It gets a lot better as it goes on, but it definitely sets the table for more good stuff. You'll get a second episode later this weekend.
Okay, talk about Scarpetta. I want to talk about something else. I saw an ad last night when I was watching basketball for something on Prime that I definitely want to talk about. But Scarpetta is with Nicole Kidman and Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Man, big stars. Nicole Kidman, Jamie Lee Curtis, Bobby Cannavale. And it's based on a book by Patricia Cornwell.
Oh,
now,
it's based on a series.
Yes.
Yes.
Series of her books?
Yeah, and I've read a lot of them. They are good, so this should be excellent.
That should be, right? It should be.
Oh, dear.
I can't find myself getting really well into it. It is a little confusing the way they put it together. Now, I've only been through about half this series, so I can't go fully into a whole lot about it. It is all available to stream now on Prime. I'm going to tell you, the first couple episodes may not grab you and may not bring you in. I'd be real interested, Sue, to hear what you think of it as a veteran of the series or any of her stuff, to know if this really gets better. I think it's going to it's a hard thing to watch in the beginning, so
that's fair.
To see if people will like it, but great casting here. I mean, people that are incredible actors. And they just didn't grab me.
But
I felt really disappointed.
What is the story framed around?
Yeah, Kay Scarpetta comes back to be the chief medical investigator for Virginia. She's trying to right a past wrong where or at least what may have been past. She's going to the past. You're trying to see what that is. Why is she back in that job? So it's kind of that crime, medical crime type of drama in its setup, but there's a lot of interesting family dynamics, and it kind of tends more to the family dynamics between her and her Aunt Dorothy, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, the daughters, the husbands, and a lot of that is there. I want to see more of the crime stuff, because the crime stuff is actually interesting to me.
Okay,
I agree.
So last night, we're moving on, because I got to talk about this. Who saw Jury Duty? Did you watch Jury Duty?
I did not.
Okay, Ethan, did you watch Jury Duty? This is the show that was on Prime a few years ago where they were taking a case to trial. Everyone in the show was an actor, the judge, the attorneys, except for one dude who had no idea that he was on the jury, and they had hidden cameras everywhere, and it was some of the most phenomenal reality TV and funniest stuff I've ever seen in my life. Anyone who has seen the show loved it, I'm sure, but they also came around with the same feeling. I think we all said the same thing. There's no way they can do this again. They can't do it again because, the gimmick is out there. Well, they have decided a different way to do it, and I saw the trailer last night. Jury Duty presents Company Retreat. And when you watch the trailer, essentially, it's one dude who's not an actor. Everyone else is an actor, and basically he goes on this retreat with a bunch of people. He thinks his company's just sending him there, to kind of be motivated or whatever, but everyone else is fake and staged.
I can't watch that sort of thing.
Oh,
I
it's
feel
so good.
bad for the person who doesn't know, and that's why I can't. That's why I haven't seen it.
One of the best things about this is where you get a little tricky. One of the best things about the first Jury Duty is James Marsden was in it.
Oh, I love him.
And he kind of played himself.
How was he not recognizable?
He played himself. He played himself like, didn't he, Paul? Isn't that what the deal was?
Yeah, he was definitely playing himself all along, so he could be there
Yeah.
and nobody would know better.
I
Some
see.
of the actor's injury duty you may have seen in other projects, but our unsuspecting suspect hadn't seen those projects, and
Right.
so it kind of worked from that angle.
Okay, so that's coming up on March 20th, so it's just a week away, and that's cool. This
Yeah,
weekend, the Oscars. What should we look for this weekend? I used to be so into this. You know this. I was a critic
Yes.
for so long. I don't care about any of these freaking movies. You know, one battle after another, Sinners. I don't care about any of them, Paul.
You know, I'll tell you what, first on company business, we'll talk in depth about it next week because I have seen this, and they did it again. Let's just leave it at that. That's all I can say about it till now. But for the Oscars, does anyone really remember what won Best Picture last year?
No,
I gotta look it up,
was
too.
it The Brutalist?
It was Anora.
Anora. Yeah, both of those movies nobody saw. So, exactly. That's what's going to happen this year.
Here's where you get your betting lines on this. I'm going to tell you right now what's the most sure thing. K-Pop Demon Hunters wins Best Animated. The song from K-Pop Demon Hunters wins Best Song. Best Picture probably will be won by one battle after another. The only drama that's left out there in a lot of ways is Sean Penn. Is he going to get an award, even though he hasn't shown up along the way? Is Timothée Chalamet going to be tanked from what he came out and said, which I think was a little bit innocuous and blown out of proportion?
Of course it was.
Yes.
We covered it. The opera ballet stuff, it's just nonsense. Hopefully that will not be held against him.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, I think the ceremony will be overly long. I think it will be full of a lot of things. The one thing I'm looking forward to, it seems like they've got a lot of really good tributes for Rob Reiner planned. And some
they
of
should.
these
That's
old
nice.
cast are going to get back together. Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan are going to be there from Harry Met Sally.
I love that. Yeah, that's
others.
good to hear.
It will be something special, and it sounds like it's going to be different than it's been in years past. So
All right,
when
and
you
Conan's
listen to that,
hosting, right?
that's
Conan
what-
O'Brien's still hosting it?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's always good. Paul, tell folks where they can find your reviews.
CommonGuy.com.
Thank you. We'll talk next Friday. The Oscars on Sunday. Frank Cusumano, big win for SLU today. Details coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Watch out for an accident westbound 70 approaching St. Louis Avenue. They've got the two left lanes blocked and traffic is jammed almost back to the Poplar Street Bridge. There's a stall northbound 270 just past 44, that one on the right-hand side, but it's going against rush hour, so it's not too bad. In fact, southbound 270 looks pretty good, headed down toward 55. 55 slowing at Bates, and also around Butler Hill, and a little bit at Richardson Road. The worst of it is, of course, the jam on 70 westbound out of downtown. It's just moderate out west at Wentzville. 64, some moderate volume, Lake St. Louis Boulevard, but it is slow, ramping on to 70. On the Illinois side, we're fine on the Poplar Street Bridge. 70, though, eastbound, slowing at 64. And 64 slows right around 157. That is due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And Cusumano standing by. We'll get the latest on SLU and all the other basketball of the day and maybe a little baseball talk, too. Let's talk about George Rosenthal and his company, ThrottleNet. George joins us on Tuesdays for Tech Talk Tuesdays. His company, though, is offering you as a business owner a free baseline IT security audit. It's going to give you a very clear starting point within minutes. And sometimes these things can get confusing. They simplify it at ThrottleNet. It's going to give you a very simple risk score. It shows where you're strong and where gaps exist. George will tell you most businesses, they have no idea. They don't know the answers to those questions. Are you secure? Are you one click, a mistake away from a breach? You need to know that, and you cannot improve cybersecurity if you don't know your baseline. So if your business relies on technology, and all of them do, this is a great first step. ThrottleNet is your IT everything. They don't just fix problems, they provide full IT strategy, security, and IT support so businesses can focus on what they do best. No client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom, by the way. Visit throttlenet.com/971 for your free baseline IT security audit today. That's throttlenet.com/971.
This month, 97.1 FM Talk in Action spotlights Helmets First, a nonprofit promoting kids' safety through free bike helmets, education, and partnerships with local police. Officers help fit helmets and connect with kids in the community. Learn how you can help at helmetsfirst.com.
Wait, Corey from Air Comfort Service? What are you doing in my basement?
Standing behind our work.
It's 9 p.m.
At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation, we take pride in our work. If you need heating service, no matter the time of day or night, we're here to help with 24/7 emergency service.
So you're just going to stand behind my furnace?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you hand me those paper towels then?
Absolutely. For heating service or HVAC maintenance, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I just want the audience to know that I've lost Sue this afternoon. She's crossed over to green beans and salmon, or salmon, as Roby out here likes to call it, and I don't think I'll get any further participation from Sue in the show. Will I? Uh-oh, no mic.
This is the best salmon that we've had this year.
Yeah, it is
and
good.
These beans are so good. Even young Ethan, not a green bean person, has been converted.
Well, enjoy that.
They're very good. That might be the last word Sue says today.
We're here until 6 o'clock. We'd love to have you come by. Our friend John O'Leary, whose story of his life was made into a major motion picture, is going to drop by in a little bit. Frank Cusumano is here. And if this doesn't scream madness and March, what happened with SLU today in Pittsburgh, I don't know what does. Holy moly, that was a thriller.
Yeah, you're down 21 points, and you staged the biggest comeback in the history of St. Louis University basketball. And it happens to be at a really important time, because if you lost that game, who knows what could happen on Selection Sunday. But this is why Robbie Avila is the player of the year. He was unbelievable. He didn't miss a free throw. He was 7 of 9 from the field. He finished with 22 points. And the Billikens lived to face Dayton, the team that annihilated them the last time they played.
Frank, could you explain a little bit as to how important SLU's success in the A-10 tournament is to Mizzou's chances and what it looks like for them to make the NCAA tournament?
Well, Ethan, I tweeted out yesterday, this is going to be one of the rare occasions where if you're a Mizzou basketball fan, you are rooting for St. Louis University. Because let's just say Dayton or VCU wins this tournament. SLU is going to get in the tournament now for sure. That would be a potential bid stealer for Mizzou after their disappointing performance against Kentucky. So you also have a school like Miami of Ohio that's going to get in, and you never know what Oklahoma is going to do. So you want SLU to win, so there's only one team to come out of the A-10, which increases your chances of getting in the NCAA tournament.
I'm so disappointed in the Tigers. They lose 3 in a row. I mean, honestly, the Arkansas game was right there. T.O. Barrett had a shot that went up in the end. He hasn't closed very strongly in these last couple of games. My personal opinion is they don't deserve to get in, Frank. That's just me as the Mizzou fan angry at my team. I think they're in, but I think they're going to have to play the play-in game on Tuesday or Wednesday night, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would be inclined to believe that the play-in game looks likely.
But, Mark, nobody knows for sure as these conference tournaments start to wrap up and the big deals, are happening right now.
Yeah, there could be a lot of scenarios, and that committee is going to look at all angles as they move into the weekend. What happens next in the World Baseball Classic?
The United States lives to play another day. They'll play tonight in the semifinals, and then the championship game will be on Sunday. But, Mark, the luckiest guy in the world is Mark DeRosa, the manager of Team USA, because in that game against Mexico, he did not realize he had to win that game to advance. And he played guys that he wouldn't normally play. And so the Italians helped out the next day and beat Mexico and knocked Mexico out. And that's why Team USA is still around.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable story. I mean, that could have gone really bad, real sideways, but thank goodness they're in. And the game that 2 games ago, not the one where they played Goldschmidt and everything, that was so exciting against Mexico, really a thriller. And then when it comes to baseball, look, we are less than 2 weeks away from opening day, Frank.
Yeah, we are. And we continue to get really, really good starting pitching. And I know you can't judge too much by what you see in Jupiter, Florida in March. But, March, it can't be any worse than it was last year. And I have a feeling that, they're going to trot out 4 or 5 starting pitchers. They're going to give you a chance to win. Now, I don't know how they're going to score runs with that lineup and what we're seeing from them right now. But I love the starting pitching.
What's coming up on Sunday Night Show?
Well, I'm going to be in Pittsburgh for the Atlantic 10 tournament, hopefully watching the selection show with the Billikens and seeing their reaction live. We're hoping they get to the championship.
I hope they do, and that will be fun. And, of course, Pittsburgh, the site of the NFL draft in a couple of weeks as well. Have a great weekend, Frank Cusumano.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, we're going to wrap things up. We have John O'Leary coming by in the next hour. Also, Dan Reardon to talk a little golf, and we're having fun. And Sue has
killed the salmon.
Killed the salmon and the green beans and all. They're spoiling us. See, that's the one thing. We get very spoiled out here, don't we?
We do. Yeah. But there's, you can eat fried or not fried, and I love it when they give me the option.
Well, the salmon looks outstanding.
It's so
it looks
good.
Great. So come on out. We're here till 6 o'clock. We got a fun 5 o'clock hour planned. It's Fish Fry Fridays on the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Not a bad commute. We've got a stall northbound 270 at Manchester, but they've moved it off to the right-hand shoulder. And we do have a stall southbound 55 at Richardson Road. It's been in the left shoulder in that area for a while. Now, if you are westbound 70 out of downtown, there was an accident kind of approaching St. Louis Avenue, and it's had the left lanes blocked. Huge jam behind it that goes south of the Poplar. Now, westbound 40, it's Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound is slowing at Big Bend, and it's picked up volume out west. So look for it between Highway N and the 70 split. 55 southbound slowing, a little bit of Bayless and at Butler Hill and at Richardson Road. We look fine if you're headed into Illinois on the Poplar, but there's volume eastbound 70 at 64 and also at 157. Both of those just due to road work, and that's what's causing that delay. This report is brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis. It's full of the latest, most custom designs. It's located in Chesterfield Valley. There you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Okay, I have some really good news. Well, we do have the 0% a lot. We do have it on our regular products because you will be unbelievably shocked, especially if you call me and I'll give you the straight up scoop on how much money you can actually save by if you spent $20,000 versus $10,000 on a system. The difference could be as little as, I don't know, let's just say, not to exaggerate, 5 cents. So be careful out there, and always remember your energy savings is based on your house. It is not based on the equipment. So common sense advice and help and guidance. Again, call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest, 314-293-2600. Again, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, that is bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Charges in yesterday's attack in Virginia. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Justice Department has charged the man accused of selling the gun to the shooter in yesterday's attack at Old Dominion University, where an ROTC professor was killed.
Kenya Chapman of Hampton, Virginia, charged with making false statements to investigators about providing the weapon to Muhammad Jallo, a .22 caliber weapon authorities say was stolen about a year ago and sold to Muhammad Jallo for $100 in the past week. Jallo, as a convicted felon, is not allowed to possess or own a firearm.
Fox's Mike Emanuel in Norfolk, Virginia. Jallo, a former member of the Army National Guard, had been arrested in 2016 for providing material support to ISIS and was released early from prison. He was killed by ROTC students. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer speaking out after yesterday's attack on a synagogue in West Bloomfield.
This is not a political moment. This is not a political debate. This is targeting babies who are Jewish. That's anti-Semitism at its absolute worst.
Authorities say Ayman Muhammad Ghazali was armed with a rifle when he rammed his vehicle into the building. He was shot dead by private security. The FBI is investigating the incident as a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community. The U.S. sending more members of the armed forces to the Middle East to assist in the campaign against the Iranian regime.
In the form of warships, 2,500 sailors, and 2,500 Marines. So they'll arrive from Japan in the next week or two.
Fox's Nate Foy in Tel Aviv. Wall Street stocks lost more ground as the strikes on Iran continue. The Dow lost 119, the Nasdaq off 206, the S&P minus 40. Crude oil rose again with the price back over $100 a barrel. America's listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We have a pretty nice evening on the way, and the bulk of the weekend is going to be quite mild until we get to Sunday night. Partly cloudy skies tonight, 38 for the low. Saturday, partly sunny, breezy, 66 the pick day of the weekend. Saturday night, clouds take over, windy and mild, 55. Sunday, rain and thunderstorms, windy. Some could be on the strong side as far as storms are concerned, 69. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist. Hey, Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Man, I think our friend State Rep Steve Butts is trying to go on the payroll. He is at the A10 tournament right now, thrilled that SLU won. He says, if I want a live report from PPG, he's watching VCU right now. My guess is that our guest, John O'Leary, is pretty excited about that SLU victory today, right?
Just got it from Pittsburgh for the fish fry right in time to eat some cod, Mark. So yes, I'm very excited about seeing
I was joking with Steve. I said after the first half, he did have time to make it back for the show because it wasn't looking very good, but they had an amazing victory today.
It was awesome. So I worked in the first half, came home because I was so despondent to watch the second half with my boys. And you saw what happened.
Yeah.
It was such a comeback by the entire team, led by defense and aggression. Basics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, and
Robbie Avila, that kid.
He's unbelievable.
We're going to miss him. And then Josh Hurts, the story of the day. The coach got a big extension. That's huge. You got to have stability like that. I wish my team would win games like that, Mizzou. John, they don't seem to do that. I'm kind of entering this segment, maybe assuming that everybody knows who you are, but we should refresh their memory. Your story, good part of your life story, was just turned into a major motion picture. It was released in the fall theatrically. Did very well. It comes to Netflix. It's one of the top streaming movies on the planet, John O'Leary. You could not be more thrilled with the way this has turned out.
The whole thing is above my pay grade. And, I got 3 random texts today from 3 random friends on flights around the country, flying to different spots. And the
Watching
movie's-
it?
Watching it.
Yes.
Love
that.
So it's on
Love
Netflix,
that.
it's on Amazon, it's on Apple. It's been in and out of theaters. Got a couple hugs on the walk into the fish fry from folks who've seen Soul on Fire. Why I love that film is it has very little to do with John O'Leary.
You've said this before.
It's just, Mark, you've seen it too.
Yeah.
Man. Like, it's a story about our community. It's a story about our faith. It's a story about our family. And it's a story about ordinary people and extraordinary people doing ordinary things for the least among us. And if you do that enough over time, you change lives.
Well, your life and your whole story, and we've known each other for a while, really, really is amazing. But let's just quickly go back to the beginning. You were a kid. In the movie, they portrayed it as you saw a bunch of other kids playing with fire, and that's what sort of inspired you to do something really stupid. Is that kind of what happened, too?
Right. So we're recording this from the studios of Mary Magdalen, Brentwood in Manchester.
Yes.
So this is awesome. I grew up in St. Clement's Parish, just down Manchester Road, and I saw kids not far from our church playing with fire and gasoline. And man, monkey see, monkey do when you're a kid in particular. And I figured, Mark, if they could do it, so could I.
Right.
So 9 years old, the following weekend, gasoline explosion, burned on 100% of my body, treated at Mercy, which is, I think it's the best burn center in the world. It just so happens to be in our backyard. They treated me well. The miracle happened. It took 5.5 months in hospital, 2 years of therapy afterwards. Decades of recovery, not just physical, but emotional and spiritual. And today, that story, not just the physical healing from burns, but the real spiritual healing of becoming who you're made to be, is out there in theaters.
Well, it's outstanding. You know, I'm the playing with fire front. Not proud of this, but I think a lot of us did that.
As we cross over, yeah.
Well, but because look, I'll tell you, and my mom and dad might be listening right now. They didn't know this, but I was a fan of burning anthills, as disgusting as that is. But I do remember being in my garage when this was in Niles, Illinois. I lived there before I moved here. And I was in this little workshop that my dad had, and I was messing around with stuff, and I did stupid things like that. So there are a lot of kids that could have been in that position that that you were in. And, you know, obviously the other part of your story that's so amazing is the Jack Buck influence. And, you know, with the movie, it's hard to tell if people got a real good handle on how important he played in that whole story, right?
And how important he is in our community.
Yeah.
Anyone listening to this conversation, anyone knows Jack Buck. And anyone over the age of 40 was influenced directly by that man's voice and by his life. And I'm blessed that a tragic experience brought me face to face with him. So for the few listeners who don't know Jack Buck, he is not only the father of Joe Buck, the great announcer, and Julie and all the other Bucks, but also a phenomenal 7-time Hall of Fame announcer. So this guy was a big deal. He was the voice of the Cardinals for 5 decades, and I grew up with him rocking me to sleep. Then I get burned on January 17th. It's a death sentence. That night, I'm laying in a hospital bed at Mercy, dying in darkness, and into that room comes the voice of the Cardinals.
And how did he get inspired to do that?
Yeah.
There's a scene, even it's filmed at the MAC. There's a dinner, right?
Yes.
When your situation is discussed. So how close to the truth is that?
The cool thing about the film is the scenes from John getting burned are shot where John got burned.
Oh, my gosh.
Really? The scene where John meets his wife at SLU.
Is where
Go
John
Bill.
met
That's
his-
right.
Wow.
And then the scenes where Jack Buck learned about John O'Leary's accident at the MAC.
Yeah.
Sports writer dinner, January 17th. Colleen Shandians went to church with us, told her dad, Red, and Red went to a party that night and told his buddy, Jack.
Oh, my gosh.
So the Red Man had a big role in that. I don't remember
course,
that. That's
of course.
interesting.
Telephone.
Yeah.
One by one is how we spread good news. And so my neighbor told Colleen, who told her dad, who told Jack, who got into his Lincoln Town car with the tuxedo still on, drove out to Mercy and paid a stranger a visit that changed both of our lives.
That's amazing.
And what makes Jack Buck do this then, not once, but regularly?
Yeah.
It's unexplainable. You could have Joe on. He could give you a better answer. But at the end of the day, Joe will not give you a good answer because there is not something that explains why someone's so generous. And you're pointing to your heart right now.
It's internal. He was told to do it, was led to do that, and he followed it.
And the beautiful thing about Jack, go watch the movie Soul on Fire and you'll love Jack Buck more. But afterwards, know this. I am one of many stories that he was part of. I'm everywhere I speak, in particular in my early career, when I would go to prisons, they would say, I heard that story before. Jack used to come out and visit us.
Oh,
I'd go to old retirement communities in the Boot Hill. And Jack was there before me telling the story. So everywhere I used to go, he went first.
That's fascinating, isn't it?
And he just liked to make a difference for people. I think he recognized in any room he walked into, he was blessed. And he wanted to make sure people who did not recognize the good fortunes in their life had something to move forward with, had a little bit of hope and encouragement and zest for life.
I love it. What, John O'Leary, has this whole experience with the film in particular been like? Because it's been a whirlwind. We had, you know, it's very important to you, and it became very important to the community that the movie was actually filmed in St. Louis. And that's not typical, but there were some tax credits. And you got it filmed here, so that was great because we see all these parts of the community. And as you said, some of the things were recreated right where they happened, right?
Well, I was calling senators this week, actually, on behalf of a bill. Man, I hope they re-sign, because if we don't re-sign this bill, it sunsets out, and then films like this won't be made here anymore. Oh. And it's not just about putting people to work, although, come on, we need some employment opportunities in Missouri and throughout the Midwest. It's about showcasing the best of who we really are. And so when you watch the film, yes, you watch Jack Buck do his thing, and yes, you watch Little John become a man, but you watch St. Louis shine. Mm-hmm. You see the Arch, you see Keener Plaza, you see Busch Stadium, you see Mercy, you see all these places, St. Louis University, that make who we are so special. And if we're not careful, we miss it. Mm-hmm. And the camera has a way of grabbing this, and the news does a pretty phenomenal job of showcasing the worst of who we are so often.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is true. So when the film was being made, I want to talk a little bit about the local connections, because I know Terry Schnook played a very important role. My friend Jeff Drew was he's a good friend of mine. I'm playing pickleball with him tomorrow. He, I think, was one of the producers. You got a lot of help locally to get this thing across the line as well.
The film was funded 100% locally, so you can't shoot a movie like this without millions of dollars and tons of hearts and hands. Every dollar was raised here in St. Louis. And the only
That's
dollars,
incredible. Really is.
The only dollars we used that weren't from St. Louis came from Florida. from 3 guys, a Bowler, a Mitchell, and a Mitchell. And all 3 of those guys went to grade school with me at St. Clement's.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
every dollar for Soul on Fire came direct from the Heartland. And we have so much to celebrate here, including a generous business community. And so they got behind this. The governor signed a bill. We filmed it on location, put 500 people back to work. Sony bought it, rolled it into theaters. The #1 rated film in 2025, according to audience reviews, is called Soul on Fire.
Isn't that incredible? That's so
is
cool.
Awesome.
And then the #2 movie on what is it? The streaming service Netflix this year.
Yes.
#2 rated. Soul on Fire.
All right, that's
Listen,
great.
People want goodness.
Yeah, they want stories. They need
This
them
is
like
what
this.
we crave and we do not get. And when it's based on something real, it's that much better.
That's said so well. I think Hollywood keeps putting forward crap.
Yes.
And they tie it up in tights and capes and spaceships, and they keep feeding it to us. Not like the delicious cod tonight at St. Mary Magdalen. It's available tonight till 8 o'clock. Come get yours. But they serve it to us in dishes, and they charge $18 at the theater. And our little movie was a story of truth.
Yes.
A story of family that lost their house and almost lost their son, and then the community and God showed up.
So I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but there's something that is revealed that your sister did the day of the fire. Is that true?
So anything in the film is true.
That's unreal.
And
if you
don't
haven't seen it, I
spoil
won't
it.
say it. But that was really shocking to me. It really was. That got me.
I'll say one thing about that scene. So when you watch the movie, the pictures at the video of the boy burning, they realized they wanted kids to be able to stomach this. So they have like a couple little flames. That little boy had flames in real life leaping 3 feet off of his body in all directions. So it's not just a little, oh gosh, that probably hurt. This is scorched earth.
Right.
Yeah.
And into that mess, and Mark, you said, don't tell him, I won't, but into that mess arrives a 7-year-old little girl who does the impossible. She did it in real life, and it saved my life.
That's unbelievable. Just, you got to see the movie if you haven't seen the movie. What was getting to know Bill Macy like? I love Bill Macy, and I feel like I can call him Bill, John.
By the way, he calls himself Bill. He doesn't like William.
Oh, I know he does.
So he calls himself Billy. And Billy arrived in St. Louis on a Sunday, and I said, hey, Billy, if you ever want to have dinner with me, let me know. I'll pick you up. And he said, I eat around 5. Come anytime.
Oh, my gosh.
So we
I love
picked him up that night. We took him downtown. We ate together. My wife, he was a vegetarian, which you may not appreciate about Billy, but he ate vegetarian. I did not.
I don't care as long as he doesn't force it on me. That's fine.
We had a phenomenal time. Two things about Billy. The whole night at dinner, he kept asking Beth about her, which tells you
thoughtful.
a lot about him.
Yep.
And then he said, as the weeks progress in St. Louis, next time you're in Colorado, let me know. I'd like to have you guys out to my house. Beth and I were out about a year later. We brought Jack, namesake. We brought Jack, our son. We skied with Bill, had dinner with Bill, partied with Bill, did life with Bill, who is humble and interested and interesting, and hates talking about Hollywood because he likes talking more about you.
See, isn't that cool? I love that. And I love to hear stories like that. I think there's more people in Hollywood like that than we recognize, but that's awesome to hear good stories about him. So what's next? I mean, the film, like you said, it's already had successful streaming. Is it getting international distribution at this point too because of Netflix?
So it begins in waves. So Canada got theirs on Monday this week.
Okay.
The UK gets theirs shortly after, and piece by piece, I think they call it territory by territory, it rolls out. So in bite-sized pieces, Mark, but it's coming. And I just think it's so cool that our friends who are flying around the country and around the world right now are watching Soul on Fire if they want.
That is great.
And in Canada, they're watching it, and they're learning the other side of St. Louis. And in the UK, starting in a week or two, they'll be watching it, and then onward from there.
Are you doing any press for that? Like, are you going to go over across the pond or not?
If I do, I'll need a media handler.
Okay.
And I'm looking for a guy with a radio voice.
I can do it. I can do it, O'Leary. I'm there.
A radio face and a radio voice is what I need, Reardon.
Did you do an official junket with it? Did they do it here in St. Louis? They did, right?
Well, and that was another thing we insisted on. Like, I love St. Louis. I'm not leaving, guys. So one of the deals when we signed with Sony was that they had to do the world premiere in St. Louis. And so all the talent, all of Sony flew in. We had it at the Powell Hall.
Yeah.
One of the first events.
So cool.
And one of the things your friend Billy Macy said is, he said, I've been in Hollywood now for 50 years, and I had to come to St. Louis to realize how you do a premiere.
Oh.
And so he said that
That's
on
cool.
every interview. He said it on stage. It's recorded. It's streamed out. And he meant it. It wasn't BS. Like, he really meant we know how to do things right.
Will you ever come off this high from the film? And that's why I kind of said, what's next? Because you do a lot of speeches. I mean, your schedule, just to get John here is a big achievement because we know how busy you are.
But we have fish.
The fish was the
They
selling
bribed me with fish, and then they put it in front of me, and then we went live. So I'm staring at cod and all this
that
other
salmon
stuff.
is good, isn't it?
It's incredible.
But are you crisscrossing the country and doing speeches, or what are you sticking closer to home, or what's life like right now?
It's very, very busy right now and very meaningful right now and very blessed right now. And I think the best work we're doing is one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
We've always used our megaphone to walk with individuals. And we have been able to walk with more individuals now than ever before.
Yeah.
It's busy.
That's nice.
But I love it, man. So we do a lot of speeches and a lot of keynotes. But the best of it is always when people reach out and they talk about their fire.
Yeah.
And then we get to support and encourage and love and pray with and encourage forward. I'm here because people loved on me, and we want to be that voice for others now.
Well, I'll tell you, to have somebody represent St. Louis like John O'Leary, there's nothing better. There's no one better. And that whole film lifts up the city, and it's just wonderful and all about good.
When you see the film, there's a couple of cameos. So, John, you're handing out diplomas at SLU in one scene to yourself, to your Joe Courtney's character, right? That's your scene in the movie?
Most people say it's the finest scene Hollywood has ever seen. They just like
I told
that guy.
you I wanted to nominate you for Best Supporting Actor. I can't believe you're not on the Oscar list for this
not
weekend.
married because I desperately want whoever played the dean of faculty at St. Louis U, and it was John O'Leary.
Yeah, it was hard.
So,
Clooney was up for that too.
Clooney
I heard
wanted it. Yeah. So
are there other family members that are in the film too? You got cameos?
It's so cool. And I'll give you just a couple. I know you got places to go today on the show, but my wife is in it.
Yep.
And so in several scenes where you see my future, it's so weird to talk about these scenes because it's like, but the Hollywood version of Beth is seated next to the real Beth at my graduation.
I did know that. That's cool.
That's cool.
You see her again when they're doing like stretching a patient, so the two of them are together again, just kind of in the background. My kids are in the scenes. We have Jack Buck's granddaughter Natalie is a nurse named Colleen, I think in the movie. Colleen is the one who tells Jack Buck that the boy's going to die.
Oh, yeah.
So Jack Buck's granddaughter tells Jack Buck
Oh my God.
that he's going to die and to stop wasting his time. So that's cool. My favorite scene, though, is Shrine of St. Joseph. I love all of St. Louis. North St. Louis is a beautiful spot. There's a shrine up there called Shrine of St. Joseph, and that's where Beth and I got married. So in that scene, you see in the front row John Corbett and Stephanie Shostak, my fake parents.
Right.
Yes.
But behind them are my mom and dad.
Oh.
And then in the scene where the girl walks down the aisle, the word action is yelled out, and everyone rises in the church. But my dad can't stand because he's got Parkinson's disease. And yet when he heard the word action, the old man, unable to stand for a decade, pulls himself up.
Stop it.
And when you watch the movie, look closely. Behind the famous good-looking John Corbett is this far less good-looking man named Dad. He pulls himself up and he stands, which is so cool and so awesome for a million reasons. But one of them is, before the movie was officially released, my father passed away.
Yeah, I knew that.
So
yeah.
Dad never really saw that scene, but he embodied it not only at the end of the movie, but throughout his entire life. And so my dad is my hero. I think you've heard me tell the story a million times about my dad, but I love that guy. And for him to rise for the final time,
Oh my gosh.
it just was like the perfect cherry on top of this film.
Well, congratulations, John, on all the success. And you know how much we love this story. And I was so happy that this was turned into a story that you could share around the planet, and then that it's having great success. And to Sue's point, I mean, people want films like this. They want stories. There's no accident that, the audience is there for it. So continue to ride on this amazing high and share your story. And thank you so much for coming by here at St. Mary Magdalen. I really appreciate it.
Sue, Mark, love you guys. Nothing you can do about it.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. I know Fred is probably sad that he missed you because he loves you dearly too, but he had a little vacation, spring break with the kids. But John, thank you so much. We'll take a break. We're coming back with more on 97.1 FM Talk. Our golf expert, Dan Reardon, no relation, is going to talk a little Players Championship, Masters, etc. That's coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, traffic. We've got some volume out there, but it's not bad. If you're westbound on 70 out of downtown, it looks good. It's just a little slow at Wentzville. Now, westbound 6440, that's Hampton. It's out through McCausland. Eastbound slowing at Big Bend. And westbound Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 70 split. Now, southbound 170, a little slow ramping on to eastbound 40. And other than that, we look good. Now, on the Illinois side, there is some volume. Eastbound 64, well, actually, eastbound 70 at 64. And then you've got it a little at 157. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. St. Louis Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. And Overhead Door Company of St. Louis can come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and openers. It's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
If I could be you.
And you could be me.
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
The ACA Marketplace has announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has 0 outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower costs than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive. Call Greg and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
If you live in Missouri, have Medicaid, and need a caregiver, this message is important. Care at home is personal. That's why you may not want a stranger in your home to take care of you. You want someone who already knows you and your daily routines. With Freedom Care, you choose a trusted family member, a friend, or a neighbor. They will get paid after every shift to care for you, and it's 100% free to you. More than 70,000 people have already joined the Freedom Care family. Call your local Freedom Care. They'll check your Medicaid eligibility. Don't wait until a stranger shows up at your door. If you have Medicaid and need help at home, this care is available 100% free to you. Call Freedom Care now to see if you qualify. 314-343-1362. 314-343-1362. That's 314-343-1362.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design because they're experts in James Hardy siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesidearty.com to schedule your free consultation.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
A little remiss in my responsibilities here as a host this week. We have tickets to give away for Jimmy Fallon's show, which is coming up in a couple of weeks on April 11th. It's the rescheduled show. I still have 2 pair of tickets. James is back in the studio, and if you're callers number 4 and 5 at 241-9797, you're a winner. 314-241-9797. Dan Reardon standing by. We're going to talk a little golf here from our fish fry in a couple of minutes. I wanted to share a couple of stories with you, Sue. First, we've been talking the last couple of, really, it's about a month, about this crazy LED glass court at the Big 12 tournament. Now, they used it for the first time in Kansas City a week ago for the women.
Yes.
And the results were, I think, pretty positive. I was watching it the last couple of days on TV, the Big 12 tournament. It's a little weird because it's a gray floor when they're playing, and of course they can put anything on it that they want. And it's different because the people in the stadium can see the same things that you can see on television because it's LED. But here's what they're doing.
Yeah.
There were some complaints about slippage and a couple other things, so they are switching that floor out for the final 2 days of the Big 12 tournament. So they used it, and they got some use out of it, and they decided, let's put the hardwood back and finish it that way.
Okay, the glass, was it slippery? I would have assumed they tested that beforehand. Are they saying it's more slippery than wood?
Candidly, the story that I read admitted that the wood slips too. So they weren't actually saying that, but what the league said was just on an abundance of caution, because they don't want this tournament ending, I think, probably in a way that's going to reflect on the floor and not be something, So, but that was one thing. And then this, you'll like this. You know it because we've talked about technology. We've talked about it with George Rosenthal. Some of the things that are, even this week, we talked about this vacuum cleaner that goes around, right? And picks things up. Or not vacuum cleaner, it helps with the laundry, right? So the hottest new gig economy job in Los Angeles is performing at home to help AI understand how humans move.
What?
So they say, this is in the LA Times today, hundreds of people from Santa Monica to Los Feliz are strapping cameras on their heads and their hands as they do chores at home, so bots can watch how they make coffee, how they scrub toilets. Come over to my house tomorrow morning. I'm cleaning the house. I'll strap a camera. You can see all this. Washes dishes, water plants. So I guess they even talk about this cafe where there's a woman sitting next to a big black bag, and there's people that stop by. She slips each a package and instructions, and they move on. And she says, people think I'm selling drugs, but she's actually working for a company that's called InstaWork that connects companies with blue-collar workers, and she's literally handing out headbands with phone mounts, just real simple pieces of equipment so they can record their every move, and then those moves are turned into data to train the robots how to act. So in one case, she hands this guy a head mount and tells him to go home and do the dishes and clean his kitchen. She says that this guy's done jobs everywhere. DoorDash, handing out hats to Dodger Stadium, washing dishes at Disneyland, hanging holiday lights at the Los Angeles Zoo. It's a pretty easy gig. He gets $80 for 2 hours of footage.
Hey, that's not bad.
No, that's not too bad.
And I bet they could just upload it now. And can you imagine? I mean, 20 years ago, it'd be a programmer sitting there going, and then you move your hand to the left. Now we just take video, throw it in, and they get it.
So this is kind of creepy, though, when you think about it.
Yeah,
it
doesn't.
Well, because, listen, they say some countries have what they call arm farms that are dedicated facilities where literally hundreds of humans record first-person footage of them opening doors, folding laundry, all this stuff. In China, this will not come as a surprise, there are more than 40 state-owned training centers where humans operate robots wearing virtually, just the virtual reality headsets. So that's interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting.
I mean, it's all going to result in something.
There's still a creep factor, but it's interesting.
Yeah, there was a report on one of the Waymo cars, I think, from maybe it was in San Francisco, where it got a little stuck and there was a train coming, and they were wondering how that was going to turn out. So all of this is not perfect. We'll take another break. It is Fish Fry Fridays on the Mark Reardon Show. Ethan Hannaford is out here with Sue and I. Dan Reardon, our golf expert, no relation. Coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
It's too bad it's no relation. You guys would be fine. Westbound 70 looks fine out of downtown. Little slow at Wentzville. 64, just some moderate volume. Now, this is mainly Clayton Skinker out through McCausland. And eastbound slows, but it's just right there at Big Bend. It's slowing again out at Prospect. Now, if you're headed into Illinois, we're fine on the Poplar. And there's just a little bit of volume eastbound 64 around 157, where they've got some ongoing road work. Southbound 55, some slow going approaching Highway Z, but not a solid jam. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We may need to get Thomas Helbig or Bob Kershaw or Bob's wife Tammy out to one of these fish fries. We are very heavily sponsored by the Retirement Advisory Group and happy to have them. And we do seminars with Thomas and the team. We've knocked one down for the year, but several more are coming up. In fact, I think just around the corner, I'm going to have an announcement for you. We've moved these out to Chesterfield, and it really is awesome. It's in a group setting. You get to know Thomas and the team and what they're all about. The philosophy of safely linking to the market so you don't lose your principal, all these things. And they've been doing it for a long time here in St. Louis. Now, there is another option. You can go one-on-one and visit with the team. They'll schedule a meeting to sit down, look at your retirement needs. They'll evaluate using their group plan, and they'll give you a plan for the future, a custom strategy to make sure that you reach your unique retirement goals. Get started today by calling the office, making your appointment at 993-9494, the website retirementkey.com, or if you're more comfortable in that group setting, we'll have an announcement very, very soon to make. We're coming back live at St. Mary Magdalen next on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Annie, and I'm with my friend Stewie of Bagel Loan fame. Right now, Stewie, people are looking for access to cash, and there are a few ways that you can tap into your home, the equity, to try to get access to that cash. But I want you to tell folks why they need to think about the Bagel Loan.
Well, Annie, I have a great story. We had a customer that went ahead and was driving to a bank to get a home equity line of credit, and this is a bad financial vehicle. The reason it's bad, it's an adjustable rate mortgage. You have a certain term of time that you can take the money out, and then after that, bam, you get hit with a higher rate. These rates can go up and down like a yo-yo. You pay interest only. Before you know it, you started with a certain balance, and guess what? You got the same balance 5 years later. Be smart. Refinance the house. Take the cash out you need to consolidate the debt. Do your home improvements. Maybe go on vacation. Do what you got to do, but do it with a 30-year or 20-year fixed rate. You'll be way ahead of the game.
And with the Bagel Loan, you pay no dollars in closing costs. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's that time of year to refresh those tired, stained, and worn-out carpets for spring. Call Carpet Guy Home Services with deals starting as low as $39.95. Our professional cleaning will bring your carpets back to life. For all your home cleaning services, schedule online at www.callcarpetguy.com.
When it comes to lighting, Gray Bar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Gray Bar mode. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Time is 5:35. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Born in the Midwest, built on common sense. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
We are live at St. Mary Magdalen in Brentwood. This is quite the operation. I give credit, too, to the Brentwood Police because they're out on Manchester Road and Brentwood Boulevard helping people get into this fish fry. Dan Reardon, our golf expert, who has been working on golf-related sports reports on KMOX for a long, long time, is with us here at St. Mary Magdalen. Nice enough to drop by. How are you, Dan Reardon? It's so good to see you in person.
I'm doing fine, and thanks for the invitation to drop by. I actually live reasonably close, so this is an easy fit, and I knew where to park. I parked in the Snook slot across the corner.
Yeah, you're smart. I want to talk about the Players' Championship and some stuff that's happening, but let's talk about you and your trip to the Masters, and let me just ask how this all started for you, because you're going to your 39th Masters to cover it for our company, right?
That's correct. My first Masters was Jack Nicklaus's 6th win, so it's easy to remember. The first one was 1986. I had covered the year before. I had covered for the first time in 1985. I covered the U.S. Open and the PGA for KMOX, and didn't know if I could get a master's credential, talk my way into it, and quite honestly, as well as anybody that's been associated with the station carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, the call letters mean a lot, right? Yeah.
And once you get in, if you don't mess up, you keep holding on to that for a long period of time. And, 10 years ago, the woman who sort of runs the press operation, Martha, said, Dan, you're at 30, you should come back for 40. And I said, Martha, I don't know if I'm going to be alive for 40. And here I am with a year to go. And they honor you if you get to 40. There's less than 40 people who have ever covered the Masters 40 times.
Man, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list.
Don't kick it in the line, okay? Stay with us. Can I say that?
I say that to everybody. I just want to survive another year.
Right. Well, look, I'm going to just tell you, there's several things on my bucket list. And as much as I'd love to see Mizzou win a national championship somewhere, I want to go to the Masters. I want to see that golf course, and it just looks majestic. But it's a unique experience, just even as a journalist, because this is one where they take your phones away, right?
You can have the phone inside the building, but if you're found with the phone outside the building, you no longer are covering the Masters.
Right. Wow. They stick to that very serious, right?
Yeah. I mean, we did something, I think, 2 or 3 years ago going into the Masters. We talk about a number of things. The one thing that, for me, in covering the event, I will tell you is, from the time I walk in until the moment I walk out, I feel like I'm in a world that I want to live in for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Everybody who works in that operation greets you, and you feel wanted. You feel accepted there.
Really?
Whether it's the Pinkerton guard at the gate when you drive in, whether it's the crossing guard going into the building, whether it's the shuttle driver who takes you down to the golf course. Everybody wants you to be there, and they want you to enjoy the time that you're there. And you don't run into that too much in this world anymore.
No, you don't. But is it Southern hospitality or more?
No, it's tradition. If it wasn't golf, it wouldn't be there. There's a lot of tradition. The Bobby Jones connection there. It is Southern, but I mean, it literally started out. It was created as a way for baseball writers coming back from spring training to stop and cover a golf tournament.
Oh, you're kidding me!
Was it really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting,
people
too.
like Grant and Rice.
That sounds like a random fact from
It does.
Sue's.
Let me write that down. And my favorite part, of course, is the Gary Player teeing off and all of the ceremonial.
Yeah.
That is my favorite. I watch it every year. I cannot be alone. But they have to be that way for those people to come back. And I mean, it's just such a tradition, but it's also so genteel.
And we have to hold on to that group for a little while longer. Blair is now 90 years old. Jack is in his, I think he's 86 now.
Yeah.
They're still in good shape for the most part, but there's no ready replacement, quite honestly. Tiger was asked, would he be willing to go in? And he said, I'm not that age yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Where would you put the game overall right now? I mean, obviously, Tiger Woods changed everything when it came to younger people, probably even more interested in golf. I've been a fan of golf even so as a kid. I never played golf. I remember watching great tournaments in the 80s. I only picked up a club for the first time when I was 32 years old. So I didn't play when I wish I played when I was a kid. But it's a popular sport right now. You have pretty big name stars. I still don't like the split between the PGA and LIV, but how would you describe where the game is right now?
Quite honestly, based on Wednesday's press conference, we're on the edge of a cliff, and we don't know what that cliff is going to be. We know that Brian Rolapp, coming from the NFL, has demonstrated that he knows how to operate in a big-time environment. And I was impressed that in a year's time, he's learned golf. You know, when he did the press conference last year, he was out of his element completely. He's not out of his element right now. And they're rearranging this tour in a number of ways. I said to you the other day, they're going to go down to 21 to 26 events as a maximum on the tour. They're going to have something called an intermediate or a separate lane where you can earn your way onto the tour without playing on the Corn Ferry Tour. The biggest change is going to be how much the players are willing to show up, because they're saying 21 to 26 events, and they're guaranteeing those sponsors will give you the best players in the world. And the players don't play 26 events anymore. Rory doesn't play 26. Scotty doesn't play 26. So that negotiation still has to be resolved. And that's coming from, there are a greater number of players on that competition console than there are anybody else. And it showed when they raised the projected fields for the signature events to 120 as opposed to the 78 or less players in the field. And we put back the 36-hole cut, because players like a cut. They like to have to compete for what they're doing. And so when I say we're on the cusp of something, I think it'll be positive. And I would, I'm such a huge golf fan, but I will admit, one of the things that Rolapp talked about was the media environment. And he said the NFL wants to go from $12 to $24 billion share of the media environment. And he said, we got to find our place for golf. Well, the fact of the matter is, golf is a niche sport. In terms of, it's the only professional sport that the spectator, whether in person or on television, can't watch the game being played in its entirety. Yep. You only see bits and pieces of it on
That's
television.
That's actually an interesting point. I never really heard about that.
So as a product, it's a different kind of product. You don't sit there and watch people play golf. You can watch them play a hole, but you cannot watch a tournament, even on television. So how that all shakes out, I don't know. I think the game is financially in good shape. I think they'll hold on to their markets, and then the question becomes, what about the tournaments that you're going to lose that have been around for a long time? And we don't know what that picture is as well.
Yeah, well, and you gotta keep the stars as part of the tour, and unfortunately, that's the one thing with the with the LIV situation. We lost some of the stars. I'd like to see John Rahm a little bit more often than just the majors. What was the I forget the name of the thing that they were doing on ESPN. The
Tiger, the TGL. Yeah, it's not the Tiger Golf League, but it is TGL.
I thought that was immensely entertaining. I would come home on Monday nights, Tuesday nights when there was no basketball on that I was interested in. I'd watch them. Obviously, it's a kind of an indoor stadium course where they're hitting actually from real glass, but it's a simulator. And then the putting surface is real, and they can actually change the undulation, the dynamics of the putting surface. It's a different way to watch golf. But it was pretty entertaining, especially because they had these guys mic'd up, like Siwoo Kim. I didn't know much about him. Fantastic personality, really interesting guy. I know that, the Netflix documentary certainly gave people a bit of an insight into these guys' personalities. But I love the way that kind of came off.
And it's still out there. They're back for another season this year. In fact, people are waiting to see. We think Tiger's going to play at Augusta. We think he's going to play in the Masters.
Really?
But the first sign that he's going to do that is, will he play in TGL before that time and demonstrate whether he's going to play or not?
Okay, so this kind of folds into something. I don't know if you have thoughts, but the only person that withdrew from the Players, we can kind of get to an update on that, was Colin Morikawa, back issue. I saw some stories yesterday that said, hey, is TGL and all these guys playing a couple extra days a week with the simulator, encouraging or adding to injuries? Have you heard that at all?
I have not heard that, and I would be surprised by that because one thing that the TGL takes out of the game is you don't walk anywhere. That's why Tiger can play in that.
That's
because
right.
You don't walk anywhere.
Yep.
So could you injure yourself swinging a club? But you could.
They're swinging clubs all the time.
Yeah, and I was wrong yesterday. Morikawa was actually on the golf course when he took
when he did the practice swing.
Yeah, it wasn't on the range. I thought he was on the range. But so you can do that at any time in the game of golf. I've been fortunate in my lifetime. I've never had back problems in the game of golf. But the saying is that there's only two types of golfers: one who have back problems and the ones who will eventually have back problems.
You know what I did a couple weeks ago, Dan? I bought another club that I can't hit. I bought a 7-wood. I told Adam Betts at Family Golf, I said, hey, can you get me another club that I can't hit? And he accommodated me.
7 woods and 9 woods are in on the
I know they are, right?
That's
I like that. All right, Players Championship update today. Who's at the top of the leaderboard? How's the tournament looking?
We've got Ludwig Oberg finishing up on 18. He is 11 under for the championship. Got a good start today. He started birdie, eagle, birdie, birdie. He was 5 under after 4 holes. Wow. Bert picked up an eagle on the end of the round. Shot 29 on the front. We're on 60 watts. Picks up a birdie early on the back 9, but then has settled down. So he has a 1-shot lead over Xander Schauffele, 2 shots over Cam Young, and Seb Straka is in there. By the way, the scorecard for Schauffele is fascinating. On his scorecard on 18 holes, there are only 3s and 4s except for the 2 that he had on 17. That's a pretty cool looking card.
Yeah, I would say so. There was one other thing about that tournament, and I just blanked completely that I was going to ask you.
Rory McIlroy did make the cut.
Okay.
He finished at 1 over, and it looks like 3 is going to be it. And Scheffler is on the course at 1 over, and it looks like he's going to make it into the field.
I know. I was going to ask about the island hole on 17. What was the number that you said yesterday of how many balls they fish out of that thing?
I read that they take 100,000 balls out of that body of water. Now, you have to understand, 16 and 18 all share some space with it.
But still,
100,000.
Wow.
Now that tells you how many rounds of golf they turn on that.
But it also tells you how many guys are taking second and third shots on that. Let's try that one again. Oh, going into the water, right? Yeah. But it's it really, as an amateur, it shouldn't be fun to take joy in someone hitting the water on their shot. But it makes you feel, hey, those guys do it too, right?
Yeah, but Mark, you asked yesterday about the idea of the Players' Championship being a major championship. And I think it still goes to the golf course. what do most people know about the Players Course? What do they know about it? They know the 17th hole surrounded by water. They don't know any other of the holes on the golf course.
Right.
So I don't think the golf course, even though the players rave about it and they think it's a great design and all that sort of thing, I think as a spectator, the golf course doesn't leave an impression other than the 17th hole. And I don't think you play majors on golf courses that don't leave an impression.
Why do you hate the Players Championship, Dan? I'm just kidding. Great to see you. Awesome to see you. Thank you so much for all the coverage. You know that, and we're going to look forward to the Masters coverage in a couple of weeks.
And very quickly, as a SLU grad, I'm going to disagree with Ethan and Frank. I think if SLU doesn't win the A10 as a SLU grad, I say they make it Mizzou, SLU in the playoff to get into the tournament.
Frank actually talked about that, or somebody did yesterday. Who was it yesterday? Somebody gave that scenario that would be kind of cool to have that.
Oh, in the first four.
Yeah, in the first four.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Hey, Dan Reardon, thanks a lot. We got to take a break. We're coming back. We'll wrap it up with audio cut of the day from St. Mary Magdalen in Brentwood.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Looking great on the roads. Westbound 70, just a little slow in Wentzville. 64 is eastbound, is slowing 170 through Big Bend, and then it opens up. On the Illinois side, we've got Route 3 jammed in both directions, and you guessed it, Monsanto Avenue, due to a slow-moving train. And other than that, we look pretty good. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Let's talk about and I will tell you this, I was thinking about kind of calling an audible for a staycation next week in Innsbruck for spring break because we don't have any solid plans. The only reason, not that it wouldn't be great to be out there when it's cold because you can do fire pits in the fireplace and everything, but not really good for fishing or hiking. But let me say this. They like to say at Innsbruck Resort where every day is the weekend because you can really experience lakeside living, a lot of activities. It is beautiful. It's close to St. Louis. You can live out there. You can build a house. They have a lot of rentals. We tend to go out there with some dog-friendly properties. They have a beautiful golf course, 18-hole golf course out there. They have horseback riding and stables, amazing trails. I love bringing the dogs because, like I said, we do dog-friendly properties, and there's so much for them to do out there. And then there's, the properties that you can build or buy out there. And some of the rentals are amazing, but the properties that you can build and the tree houses, which doesn't even do them service when you call it tree houses, are stunning at Innsbruck. Find out everything you need to know about a vacation at Innsbruck, just an hour away from St. Louis, west on I-70 at Innsbruck-vacations.com.
The Illinois primary. This is where your vote matters more than ever because it's where turnout determines which candidate gets to the ballot in November. Vote this Tuesday. It's for our Illinois residents at 97.1 FM Talk. Visit 971talk.com/events to find where to vote near you.
Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate. Evans is a proven fighter and the only candidate for U.S. Senate with guts and know-how to get the job done. As an attorney, she took on China and corporate criminals. Jeannie Evans won billions for working families. As senator, Evans will fight and win for you. She'll work to cut taxes and lower the cost of living. Evans believes that keeping Illinois safe will take more than just wishful thinking. It takes courage, and Jeannie Evans has the record to prove it. Evans will always be tough on crime. She'll hold China accountable for trafficking fentanyl and stealing our personal data. Jeannie Evans puts America first. A proven fighter. Conservative outsider Jeannie Evans for U.S. Senate.
I'm Jeannie Evans, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeannie for Illinois.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and we're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and a repair is quite costly. It might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you that we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. It's what I would put in my home. It's what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number. The easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, we are about to wrap up another very successful fish fry out here, and I got to thank everyone. James back in the studio, Brian putting things together for us out here, Ethan Hannaford basically doing nothing but eating fish in front of me. Thank you for that. You're welcome. Sue Thomas, essentially the same outside of Sue's News. No, you guys were great. We had a fun time with John O'Leary, and thanks to Dan Reardon for coming by. It was really great. And here's what's shocking to me, and we talk about this every week. We only have 2 more of these left.
I can't believe
Can you believe that?
No.
So we're at Queen of All Saints back in South County next Friday, and then on March 27th, my mother's birthday, Ox Tavern and Fish Stand in Millside. Fred is back on Tuesday. I am back on Wednesday. I'm taking a couple of days off to enjoy the terrible weather with my daughter, and I think I'm going to have her play a little pickleball with me or racquetball at the MAC.
Indoor
she wants to go to the mall, so I guess we're going to have to go to West County Mall and spend some money.
I'm looking forward to that vacation on Monday. That'll be real nice.
You get a break from me, don't you? All right, let's. James going to do audio cut of the day for me here.
Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
So, boxer and big YouTube star Jake Paul had President Trump on his podcast. Trump endorsed him for office. He's not running for anything, but he's endorsing him for future political office. But the conversation was kind of interesting, and one of the things they talked about was what happened in Butler during the assassination attempt.
Was it like hot on your ear? Could you feel the bullet?
You had that throbbing feeling. You knew there was something. It was a bloody mess. What happens is, well, you know this better than anybody. The ear bleeds more, because I said, why is there so much blood? And the ear's a big bleeder, having to do with cartilage. I didn't want to go into it too much, but it was bloody as hell. So when I checked, I put my hand up. I said, I brought it down, and it was loaded up. So I said, that's either the biggest mosquito bite in history, or I just got shot.
That's an interesting...
It was not a pleasant experience.
No, that's an interesting way. I haven't heard him really describe it that way with the mosquito bite. Now, this is the type of soundbite that I'm about to play that will make the Trump haters, their heads explode. Mm-hmm. But if you know anything about him, this is the only way he was ever going to answer this question. So the question is the question on the soundbite, Ethan, who would you reincarnate as?
Oh, no.
If you could come back in history and reincarnate and, be able to experience someone else's life, who would you come back in history as?
That's a very interesting question. Maybe Donald Trump.
I
think Donald Trump right now. My life is very exciting, I have to be honest. I'm thinking about other lives. I think my life is maybe more exciting. I don't know. Look, I've had a great time.
I think that was such a great answer. There's no way that you could come up with a better answer than that. And you know what? He ain't wrong. You can challenge him on a lot of stuff, but I don't think you can challenge him on that. All right, gang. Well, thank you so much. We had a great time out here.
So
and
great.
We were a little bit more removed from the fish fry crowd today. That kept things a little quieter in here, but they've been waving at us, and people have been stopping by and saying hello. So our great fish fry experiences
continue.
And
a thank you to John O'Leary.
Yes.
That was phenomenal.
Oh, my gosh.
That was one of the best interviews I've ever heard in my life. That was phenomenal.
That will be a best of, right? Ethan, are you with us next Friday?
I am, yes.
Okay, good. We'll see everyone. I'll be back on Wednesday. Have a great weekend. Sue, take it away with traffic. We're coming back on
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a jam on the Illinois side. Slow-moving train at Monsanto Avenue causing a jam on Route 3. On the Missouri side, an accident reported eastbound 6440 near the inner belt, closer to Hanley. That's a little bit of a slowdown, but westbound looks fine through there. And a last-minute accident here on northbound 270 north of Dorset. That's causing a little bit of a delay. Westbound 70 looks great out of downtown. 6440 westbound looks fine. And if you're headed into Illinois, we look great on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control.
Annie here.